Hello, everyone, and welcome to. It's not Sunday Pub, but it's called Britton Social Club. We changed the name, uh, so yeah. Hope everyone's doing well. I bet there's not really a lot of people here yet, so I'm going to be sharing. So if any of you come on and start commenting, and I don't see it instantly, that is probably why. So there you go. All right. See. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's telling me that. Right. Let me just post these. All right. Damn, no one uploads on. Hello, Alicia. How you doing? Again, sorry if I don't see all your comments right off the bat. I am spreading this around, so just so everyone knows. And like I always say, this is open invite, so if you guys want to come on, just let me know. You can contact me on Twitter, or you can even comment here, and we can figure something out. It's totally fine. Just you know. Let me see. Let me see. Raph will probably be on here. Probably take a little bit because he said he's eating dinner at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. Well, I mean, I'm sure he'll be here, but you know, it's let me see here. There we go. Like, where the hell? Like, where the hell is the share the channel on here? But I found it. We're all good. All right, Tharnall, I'll take you up on that. I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's been a week. I'm still kind of getting the hang of this new semester. Last semester, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. Excuse me. Ugh. A bit of allergies today. Just been kind of sneezing. Like to join. All right. Let me see. Oh, seems I've been recommended something yet again on my Discord. I'll have to see what that is in a little bit. So, thank you. Thank you for the yes, it was. I don't know what it was for you, but it was a week indeed. Zyrtec D works for me every time. Oh, thank you. Probably just gonna hang out, as I like to say. Invite's always open, so if anyone wants to join in, just contact me, rather it be on here or on Twitter or on Discord. Doesn't really you know, I won't I won't discriminate, basically. So I know a lot of the time it is just me and Raph sitting here, But I did not make the show just for me and Ref. I want a lot of people to come in and hang out if they want to. I don't want to force it on anybody. Here's the hell. It's also, if you're on my Discord, the StreamYard link is there. So if you would like to just go to my Discord, find the link, and join me there, that's fine. Though I will get rid of it, once it's over because, it's done and the link doesn't really work anymore. But yeah, so, just chilling here. Let me just. Sorry, I'm just, right. Mike's channel, last one. There we go. Yeah, there we are. All right, so let me just get on here. There we go. All right, there we go. How's everyone doing this fine afternoon? Hope everyone's doing well. Ben, the biggest bad, how you doing? I'm sure you probably saw Raph talking about it earlier today. Nope. Hello, Mac. How you doing? Glad to see. Which one was that? I did check. I forget the name, but yes, I did look at it. It did look interesting. I might have subscribed, but I can't remember. I've been just kind of on a. It's been something. I'll just say that. Actually, hold on. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. There we go. But yes, I did see that comic book channel. I just haven't really watched a lot recently because I've been busy. Yeah, let me just. I don't even know if I have Zyrtec D in my house, but yeah. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you guys are reading good books, all that fun stuff, consuming good media. My friend Jason today made a video. Gary's be the casual comic guy. Oh yeah. I did check out the guy. I do remember checking out the guy when you recommended him to me. So yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it. As always, should need more. There's always good news for quality comic book channels. So yeah, I just kind of try to do both because I like books and I also like comic books. I finished Men at Arms last night because I'm like, screw it. I only have about 60 something pages. No problem, Tharnell. You do your thing with your friend. But yeah, I finished Men at Arms last night, which I thought was a really good book. I think I like Guards a little more, but I enjoyed Men at Arms quite a bit. I think I'm converted, guys. I'm really liking this Discworld thing. Liking the City Watch anyway. I really enjoyed the experience, I will say. I mean, there are some gripes I have, but they're very minor. Like there are some gags that Pratchett does that kind of grow thin pretty quickly. But aside from that, which you could just kind of chalk that to subjective sense of humor thing, which is fine. But good book. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the second Discworld Files episode. I just need to get it together with Raph and Derry whenever that happens. So yeah. Hopefully in September we'll probably when we do something like that because I'd like to do it pretty quickly because if I mean I don't want the Discworld Files to be like a. Excuse me, my dog's freaking out. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean to leave you guys there. My dog just started freaking out. I don't know if you guys heard that. Hopefully not. But anyway, what was I talking about? Yes, finished Men at Arms. It's a good book. I enjoyed it a lot. And oh yeah, now I remember. I really like the yeah, she's fine. My cousin was just at the door and she just freaking goes mad every time someone comes to the door. So there you go. So yeah. Sorry I left you guys there for a sec. But yeah, what I was saying was I didn't really want to make the Discworld files like an orderly thing. It's not something I wanted. It's definitely a more casual thing whenever I get around to reading Discworld books. So yeah, but the second episode I'm hoping to do not too long from now. Raph shouldn't be too hard to get wrangled. It's more Derry who, not she's hard to wrangle. It's just sometimes I have to kind of prod her a little bit before she goes, oh yes, I'm looking at the camera. Yeah, no, I don't look at the camera. I just look. Yeah, no, I don't really look at the camera. It's weird, when I look at the camera, I go like, yes, there you go, right there. I'm looking at you, Oh, nice. Not bad, Mac. But what books have I started? I'm hoping to get started on James Ellroy's The Big Nowhere, which is the second of his LA quartet, the first one anyway. I have A Brief History of Seven Killings, which I'm going through right now. And I also started Difficult Men by Brett Martin, which is about a couple of TV shows that I really like, such as The Sopranos and The Wire and Breaking Bad. Mad Men is also involved in this, even though I've never been able to get into Mad Men. Just not really my thing. My friend likes to joke with me. It's not enough shooty, is what he likes to say, just to kind of mess with me. I'm like, well, I like The Marvelous Miss Maisel. That's not shooty. I mean, I do like a lot of shooty stuff, but it's not something I. Yeah, those are the books I've started as of right now. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. It's just kind of. Oh yeah, and I'm also still reading Garth Ennis's Battlefields. I've read the first two kind of omnis, if you want to call them that. I'm about to start the third one, whenever that'll be, probably soon, because I'd like to have that completed before August is over. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, really not too much going on. Let me see if anyone's messaged me or anything. Nope. Not from the sounds of it. Okay, yeah. But yeah, what are you guys reading at the moment? Hopefully it's more interesting than what I have on the docket, if you will. Oh. Sounds like you had a good week then, Mac. I can't complain too much about that. I do. I like Preacher more than The Boys. I'll say that. I think Preacher is more heartfelt than The Boys. I think The Boys just gets kind of. I like The Boys. I think it's a good comic. I think there's some good stuff in it. Like Billy Butcher, I think is a great character. But I think the boys kind of for me it's a bit too mean spirited at times. Like look, like I get it. Like Garth Ennis isn't really a fan of the superhero genre, but like calm down, dude. Like not that bad, you know. But I think there is some charm. I like the boys cast quite a bit. I like Huey and and Butcher and Mother's Milk and the Frenchman, and I like them interacting. I enjoy that. Garth Ennis is very good at that. But Preacher, I think, is a lot more. I think it's a much more interesting book. I really like the. I really like. Well, again, I like the main cast of characters. That he's really. That's what Ennis is really good at. Those like kind of Motley Crue kind of stories where it's like a group of weird misfits coming together to go on wacky misadventures. Um, well, that I agree. I think the TV show, actually, I don't know if you mean Preacher. I disagree with Preacher. I don't know. I didn't watch all of it, but I was just kind of let down with the Preacher adaptation. But The Boys, definitely. I think The Boys is much better as an adaptation than the original comic. I think they took a lot of the Garth Ennis. They took the Ennis-ness out of it in a strange way. There is some Ennis still in there, but it's definitely taken more seriously. You see, so there you go. Yeah, I've heard about Boy's Life for years. I haven't read it yet. Just haven't really gotten around to it. Indeed, you can't. Cassidy's great. I mean, he's not the nicest. I mean, he's not really like a great guy, but he gets his act together towards the end, so it's not all bad. What's funny about Preacher? I kind of view it as an interesting kind of counterweight to American Gods, kind of in the way that they're both these meditations about America from outsiders from across the pond, basically. Garth Ennis being an Irishman and Neil Gaiman being English. Though I think there are differences. Of course, I think it could be like an interesting double feature, book wise, if like a double feature for books exist or comics or whatever. I think that you could read them side to side and it works, Though I mean I think that like American Gods is more meditative, while Preacher is more like a madcap romp, basically. Which nothing wrong with that. Yeah, fun times. I enjoy Preacher quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know about Mortal Kombat. I'm just kind of I'm kind of worn out of that particular thing. But yeah. So I think Preacher and American Gods are very interesting together. I know Tharnall really likes American Gods as much as I do, so I'm curious to see what he'll have to say about that. But I do think those two are really interesting as like kind of counterweights, if you will. One's a bit more serious, one's a bit more silly, but both of them are about America in a lot of ways. Which I think is quite fascinating. It's always interesting seeing kind of America from the outside, looking in. You say Alan Moore kind of does a similar thing as well with like Watchmen, but yeah, I'm thinking of saving books a lot better. I'm just gonna say that TV show. I don't know what the hell that was, but I liked Ian McShane as Wednesday. I thought he was great. Like, yeah, get Al Swearingen as Wednesday. That's a great choice. But yeah, wasn't really a big fan of the show. As for When Darkness Gathers, I'm thinking of saving that for 2026. So should be fun. Probably will have Philip Chase on. What do you mean? Wait, what are you talking about? When I said you're a fan of American Gods, I was just saying how I think American Gods and Preacher are you could kind of do a double feature with both of those because they're both about America. Um, from an outsider's point of view, both of them, which is kind of interesting. Both of them lived in America for a while. I think Garth Ennis still lives in America. You know, um, both about faith. Yes, that's true. Though Garth Ennis, of course, is a bit more negative when it comes to faith. And I mean, the series is basically blasphemy, joyfully so. I'll just say I hope God has a sense of humor. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, American Gods. That's true. I totally forgot about the faith thing. After reading Men at Arms, I do really want to read Small Gods because I've heard that Neil Gaiman. I know Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett were friends, but if I recall correctly, he definitely owes a debt to Small Gods because I think like Small Gods is kind of like the more comedic version of American Gods in a lot of ways. Could be interesting, and I think more books should be like American Gods. Um. Oh, it was Wow. I thought it was Wild, but I just was kind of thrown off. Sorry, guys. Just not really. Um. Have I read Good Omens? I don't. I don't think so. I know of it. I know of it. I just haven't read it because haven't really. Because it's weird. I'm not really. I tend to struggle when there's two authors. I find that only really works if both the authors have a consistent vision for what they want, and that's not always the case. But I generally am often skeptical of co-authors working together. Um, but yeah, so well, I'm glad to say we have ourselves a new guest. You know him, you love him, Raph. How you doing, man?
I really hope you don't love me. Anyway,
Oh, come on. You're so
cheers,
lovable
everybody.
though.
How you doing, Britton?
I'm doing well. I've just been filibustering about what I've been reading and how I finished Men at Arms last night, which I won't rehash here because you already know. Because I was texting you guys in the Discworld Files group chat last night, being like, "Man, this book is amazing. Have you guys read this? Oh man!" And then Raph and Derry just shake their heads like, "Bro, we've been telling you to go read this for a while. Get out of here." Yeah, I think I'm sold on Discworld now. I mean, Guards
No, but
did a pretty
this
good
what
job on that, but Men at Arms definitely did.
I think. Like, what is so fascinating about Discworld for me is like that you read it and it's funny, right? Like, there's a lot of like very cheap jokes, and then there's like slightly less cheap jokes and stuff, and then you sit back and go like, "Holy shit!" There's also like a lot of like deeper sort of like meaning behind that, and someone has made like a very clear sort of like argument about gun control in a book about trolls being incredibly stupid.
Yeah. One of my favorite kind of gags is like when Detritus, or however you pronounce his name, he gets in the freezer and he becomes more intelligent.
Detritus. Yes,
Detritus, he gets more
detritus.
intelligent. And he goes, even for like trolls generally live in the mountains because
Yeah.
whatever it makes them smarter. Uh Detritus is dumb even by their standards. I'm like, poor guy.
But it
Oh,
is so funny because the logic he
so
uses,
sad.
it's like is computer logic, right? Like, you need to cool down your computer because silicon kind of loses semiconductivity when it gets hot, and it's not just something made up. It does sort of like make sense in that specific logic basically.
Also likes that I also like that he expands on the world of Discworld without really like info
Mhm.
dumping. Again, I really appreciate the lack of info dumping in Discworld, at least so far. Maybe it's in like Color of Magic or some of the earlier books, but from what I've read, he has avoided it for the most part, which is nice.
No, he does do some info dumping in like footnotes in Color of Magic and Life Fantastic, but because those are like early Discworld, the Discworld has
That makes sense.
changed
Yeah.
since then, and that's kind of important. Like Discworld evolves along with Terry Pratchett. Like Discworld, like Color of Magic's Discworld is very different from, say, from Shepherd's Crown Discworld, which is like the final book that he, like the last book he wrote. So a lot of stuff just like happens in between and just like find out during the stories, and he does not do like info dumps in any way. It's just like you learn about stuff.
Yeah, and another thing I like, you and Derry and some other people mentioned that like Terry like is angry. He's not really jolly, as some say. Like Neil Gaiman wrote a article about that. But like I can tell when I've read the Discworld books I've read that like Terry has fun doing it.
Yeah,
Like he enjoys these characters. He likes to spend
yeah,
time with them.
he does. But like, I think it's important. Like, what makes this world work for me is like he has fun with those characters, and he's doing a lot of like jokes and everything. But like, there is sort of like a moral integrity behind that. It's like Terry Pratchett has a very clear sense of like what is wrong and what is right, and that will never be crossed in those books. It's like it will always be very clear who's wrong and who's right in these books, and that doesn't mean that you don't have like complex characters or anything, but like there is a like a hard border of like beyond this, it's you know if you cross that line, you're evil. and
I
and
also I
yeah,
also liked the I also liked the additions. I didn't really know what I was gonna take for the additions to the group, but I liked Cuddy and Angua and Detritus. I thought they were fun characters. I enjoyed them.
I mean, Detritus in particular is just a really, really fun character, and he stays obviously. And like he first shows up in moving pictures, which you haven't read, which kind of like in publication order is between Guards and Men at Arms, and it's the one that's all about
Yeah, I was
like
kind of thrown off
Hollywood
by
and
the
stuff.
by the talking dog because I was like, okay, hold on. So is there like a secret
Oh,
language
that's right.
between the
Like
dogs?
Gaspode also shows up in moving pictures for the first time. Detritus and I mean Detritus was in Guards Gods. I don't know if you noticed that, if you remember that.
Oh, I don't know if I remember. I'll have to look that up. Um,
Detritus is the splatter like a bouncer, only trolls use more force. Outside the mended drum or the broken drum, where Carrot has that first bar fight, he's the
oh
bouncer there.
yeah, I'll have to read that again. No, it's um
Yeah.
I'll save more of my thoughts for when we do Discworld Files, whenever that'll be. I was actually talking about that earlier, but yeah, I enjoyed Men at Arms though. Yeah, I was a little disappointed at the lack of Vimes because I really like Vimes, but I thought he made up for it. I thought Carrot had a lot of interesting stuff he did in this story. I found that Men at Arms is really Carrot's story. I mean, he's on the cover
Yeah.
of my copy. That was probably not an accident. That's all I'll say.
I mean, it does certainly sort of like make Carrot the character that he is. Vimes will become more important in the next one and the one afterwards, and that's like the thing that I like about like Discworld in a lot of ways. It does sort of like build this world, and you don't have to remember that Detritus is the bouncer in God's Gods. It doesn't matter. But like if you read like the whole thing, you can see how the world sort of like grows and all these kind of things are tied together and everyone kind of connects to everyone over time. And that's something that makes it so really, really interesting when it just comes to like world building in a lot of ways, I think. And
Also, the stuff with the dogs was really funny too, especially that big Fido. is this little poodle.
the most
You think he's gonna be like
Hitler
the big
dog there ever
badass, kind of
was.
like Doberman or something, and he just shows up. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know?
But he's very much like it's like the closest Terry Pratchett ever came to having like a Hitler kind of character in any of his books.
Oh yeah, yeah. I took him more as like a Che Guevara kind of character a little bit. Maybe not as
Nah, because like the whole focus on like being wolves and being, a whole lot like he's not. That's very like, the Hitler German kind of thing, because Che Guevara was not about like race ever. You know? It's a
I mean,
very
he was
important
pretty racist
difference.
when he was
Hmm?
younger, if
Hmm?
some of his earlier writings are to be believed. But I don't know if he was a racist when he was,
Nah.
doing his terrorist escapades in South America, or
We call it we call it
revolutionary, depending on your
we
perspective.
call it freedom fighter.
Well,
um that is true. Detritus invented the shotgun. There's a really good movie, the Young Che Guevara motorcycle trip movie. I need to find out like some really like impressive, like very like by now very famous actors played in that. It's a really good movie. I highly recommend watching that. It's about like, Che Guevara being the young medicine student, studying medicine, then doing like a motorcycle trip through like the Andes, and that's sort of like where he gets radicalized. And um it's one of those like important actors that plays Che Guevara in that one, and I highly recommend watching that because it's a really good movie. Like beyond anything else, it's just a really good movie, and it's kind of explains how people get radicalized by just actually witnessing all the suffering around them.
yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. Because there's a composer I like, I think, who did the score for that movie. But yeah, no, I liked Men at Arms. It's a good, it's good, it's good, it's a good time. Anyway, I'm gonna get a drink real quick, so keep the masses entertained while I'm
I
away.
will. I'll find out who is in that fucking movie, because I don't know anything about actors because I don't watch movies. Nah, I don't know any of those. Anyway, like watch that that movie about like Che Guevara's motorcycle trip. It's a really good movie. I cannot recommend it enough. Is it called that in English, Biggest, or are I just making a joke right now? I don't know, because I I watched it in theater here, and it was like in German, and it's called the Journey of the Young Che Guevara or something like that. So it's like might be called Motorcycle Diaries, but like highly recommend that movie. It's really good. It's also kind of depressing. But yeah, I spent the day finishing up the second collection of stories about Beauchelain and Colbrooch. And one of the things that really fucks me up with the audiobook is that he calls him Beauchelain. And I'm like, I don't know, man. In my head, it was always Beauchelain. I don't know. Maybe that's like me having like French in high school. I don't know. Only sandals. I'm pretty sure there's a big market for that one, Thornall.
Hello again.
It is. Okay. Yes, Beauchamp and Cobble Roach is the necromancer couple that shows up in Memories of Ice. Uh, okay, so Motorcycle Diaries is the title. So you watched it, Biggest? No, I really love that movie. It is so good.
But yeah,
Nancy the Unlucky.
I mean, I will say it was kind of nice after reading somewhat of a mess, if we will, if you want to call it that, of Guards of the Moon. I ended up reading Men at Arms. Had a better time with it, I thought. But
one of the things I love about Gordon, not Gardens of the Moon, which I obviously also love, but like Men at Arms is where you can see how Terry Pratchett's writing style is a very cinematic writing style. Like you can read the opening stuff, and you can just imagine like every scene as a shot in a movie, and how you cross cut between like Carrot writing his letter, and you see the other stuff happening, and you could probably just like have Carrot writing his letter sort of like as a voiceover while the other stuff is happening, and it is very cinematic, and that makes like Pratchett's writing so interesting, that he does do he does a lot with like language and like how he uses language, double meanings and all. He's really good with words, right? But he does also at the same time do a lot with like images, and like how he creates like scenes that are very clearly visually defined in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There we go. Had to turn down my fan. But yeah, it's I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked I really liked how Carrot's character deepened. I was like, aha! So there's a little more to
it. Yeah, that explains it, biggest. That very much explains it.
I was actually talking with some guys about the Troubles the other day, and just how much of a clusterfuck that all was. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we were talking about video games, and he's like, yeah, probably not a good idea to set a video game during the Troubles. I'm like, well, that's a good idea, probably.
I think you can set a video game in any area and any era, as long as you have people that come from that place and time and actually understand what you're doing. At least with like somewhat contemporary history, where you have like a lot of like personal experiences and stuff like it. You can do something about like the fucking civil war between like fucking Sulla and Marius in the Roman Empire, this time like still Roman Republic, and you'll probably not offend anyone because it's been a while. But you do something about like the Troubles, or you do something about the fucking Holocaust, you'd better get your shit together, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, or slavery. Yeah.
You don't want to end up writing the boy in the striped pajamas, because that's not what you want to end up with. But then again, that guy is now a big friend of J.K. Rowling, so yeah, fuck that guy even more. Clearly,
I
he
remember
doesn't
Reads
care.
with Rachel made a video complaining about the guy, and again, I just kind of shook. I unsubscribed from Reads with Rachel recently, because I'm like, you know what? I'm just kind of tired of her bullshit, to be honest.
Thornall, the Troubles, by which we mean Ireland.
Yeah, it's when, well, they say Protestants and Catholics. It wasn't really like religious based though, despite popular belief. It's more of a political conflict, but it was basically between the Catholics and Protestants of Ireland. Basically, people who wanted to be an independent Ireland, and people who wanted to stay in the UK, if I recall correctly. Like, I don't know that much about the Troubles, except for that.
It's complicated. I don't know anything about it. There's a really good series of podcasts by the generally really good Lions Led by Donkeys podcast about it, done by a very angry Catholic guy from Northern Ireland. So he's got opinions. Oh yeah. When the pedophile in chief got like promoted to the first British cosmonaut, I guess. Yeah, that moment is kind of tied to that.
Yeah, no, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, I unsubbed from Reads with Rachel. I'm not really just got tired of her channel.
like the thing with like and this is complicated. Like the guy who wrote the Boy in Striped Pajamas is not Irish. Well, he's Irish or British. I don't know. He's very
He's
much not
Irish.
Jewish. So he's British, which mark against him already. And he writes about like a very specific sort of like Jewish experience in a concentration camp, and that's a very sensitive kind of thing. And if you are not, if you have like no personal connections to that, you need to make sure that your research is 150 fucking percent correct, because we still live in a time where there are survivors that have been there. So you will be checked at every single fucking point. And if you don't do that and just go like, well, poor kid in the concentration camp and poor German boy, and they have a friendship, and like, that's not gonna end well. And then he got, people were like, hey, this kind of sucks. And then it's like, I guess I'm a turf now. I'm gonna be with J.K. Rowling because you guys canceled me for not doing my research. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. At that point, fuck you. Just like J.K. Rowling, which
I only saw the movie. I thought it was all right. Didn't really. Didn't offend me. Didn't really. But then again, I'm not like Jewish, so maybe if I were Jewish, it'd probably offend me more. But it's not like Gods and Generals, the Civil War movie, where I just shake my head and go like, yeah, that's pretty offensive. It's pretty offensive towards how you depicted slavery. Like,
yeah.
if I'm saying that as a suburban white guy, you're doing something wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Like I haven't read the Boy in the White in the Striped Pajamas. I don't need to. It's like, I'm German. I've read a lot of stuff about the Holocaust. I've read the Diary of Anne Frank several times. A German author, according to Google's AI summary, which is like technically correct, but also like explains like even if AI summaries get stuff right, like technically right, describing Anne Frank as a German author is like, yeah, she had like German citizenship, and she like her diary got published, so
She was
technically she's an
Danish,
author.
wasn't she, or was she from
No.
Norway?
She was German, and they fled to the Netherlands, and then they hid in the Netherlands. But she had like German citizenship. But that's kind of the point. Like, Anne Frank is not a German author. Anne Frank is a Jewish victim of the Holocaust, and the fact that her diary was published posthumously does, I mean, technically make her an author because she has like a published book. But that's not like, you know what I mean? It does not describe the person. It does not actually. If all you learn about Anne Frank is like she was a German author, you kind of miss everything about it, and that's kind of interesting for me because it's the one time where like artificial intelligence, like Google's AI summary, does actually get the actual correct like legal facts basically, but it still misses the point because you know it's not just about like facts, it's about something else. The truth is not just the facts, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's yeah, I get sad every time I think about the Diary of Anne Frank. It's just
Yeah, I mean, come on, Thornell. It's not supposed to be an entertaining thing. It was, yeah, it was just a journal, and I personally think it's good that people in, at least a lot of people in
I think it should
Germany,
be read
like
for like historical
kids
reasons.
in Germany reading the Diary of Anne Frank, I think is a good thing because it does sort of like it does humanize the Holocaust in that you understand that it is, not just like numbers and shit, which in history class you go like, yeah, we killed 6 million Jews and that was bad. But like actually reading the diary of someone that, especially when you're reading it as a kid, you're like, hey, she has like the same sort of like questions like who's coming to my birthday party, and the kind of stuff you wrestle with as a kid basically, right? And reading that and understanding in that way, I think is important because you need to humanize people because like the one thing that allows genocides to happen is dehumanizing people. So you need to humanize people, which is fucked up in its own way, that we actually need to humanize humans, because otherwise we just like turn them into numbers and do terrible things. But in that regard, I think the Diary of Anne Frank is an important document, and people should read it. At least it does do the thing that we have assigned it to do, and that's worth publishing it. I hope. I don't know.
Speaking of genocide and this weird conversation we found ourselves in, I was actually talking with a friend of mine the other day about the book The Rape of Nanking by Jing, depending on how you pronounce it. I think it's by a lady named Iris Chang. I need to look this up. Hold on Goodreads. But I was kind of, because I had seen photos I have unfortunately seen photos from this incident, which, I highly recommend you don't, unless you want to be scarred for the rest of your life.
I saw Murphy Napier I did like a review for it, and I'm like, that was like in the things that I was expecting YouTube to recommend to me was like,
which, by the way, that book was apparently so stressful for her. It caused, like, it was that hard for her to write. She ended up unfortunately passing away not too long after the book came out. And it's I've seen photos from that incident. It is fucked up. Like what they did. I mean, I don't want to compare or contrast or say anyone's better than the other, but it made the fucking Nazis look like child's play. I mean, it is fucked up what they did. It's just man. It was so bad. Even Nazis who were there were shocked by what they saw.
What's his name? Robert Rabo or something? Yeah, that guy who worked for Siemens or Bosch or one of those,
something like companies. That. I don't know.
Yeah, and he was. But that's the point. It's like, no, I was just like last week. I when I came back from the last heavy metal festival, I opened YouTube and it's like, The Rape of Nanking, a review by Murphy Napier. I'm like, is this something I want to click on? I don't know, because I know the context. I've read the book.
God. I'm gonna have to mentally prepare myself. And look, I am not squeamish. I will pick up a bleak book and read it for fun. I'm not like squeamish or anything. But after seeing some of the photos and just hearing what happened during that whole incident, like, it is just, I'll definitely have to mentally prepare before reading that book, because, man. All honesty, this is probably gonna be a hot take, but it makes me feel less bad that we dropped 2 nukes on Japan, because, oh Lord, that
I think both are bad in different ways, but I
don't know. I mean, raping and murdering people and turning into a sport for 6 weeks. I mean, I don't know, man. That again, I don't want to compare and contrast, but even though that's kind of what I'm doing.
Like, Britton, you've read Blood Meridian.
Yeah, that's true. I was about to say, I mean, and that's a fucked up book. I mean, it it'll test you, that book, in more ways than one, not just because.
But that's kind of the point. There are situations where, and this is so difficult. Like, I think it's so important to understand about like stuff like war and shit. Like, you put people in these sort of like extreme situations, people will lose their humanity very quickly and do incredibly fucked up shit. And yes, some situations are worse than others, but like that's sort of like that loss of humanity, I think, is something that happens because of the situation you find yourself in.
All I'll say is there's some real freaks out there in Japan. I mean, I've heard they have I've heard they have like little. Max says, "Yeah, having visited Auschwitz-Birkenau. Do you have a better pronunciation for that, Ref? Did I pronounce it right?"
You pronounce it Auschwitz-Birkenau.
Birkenau, thank you. The most
Birkenau. So
horrible
the
thing was
things
saying
like
clothes, toys, hair, prosthesis. I don't know if I said that right. I'm sorry. Great many
prosthesis, yeah.
veterans of World War One, most likely, literally strip mining humans like cattle. And there's little.
No, like the Auschwitz
Yeah, Auschwitz was the worst one,
museum.
wasn't it?
What?
Yeah, Auschwitz was the worst one, wasn't it? Of the concentration camps.
Not necessarily.
It's the most famous one.
It's the most famous one, yes. But
Yeah.
like Auschwitz-Birkenau, it's also like the way like the camp has been turned into like one of the most impressive sort of like museums you can ever visit. Like if you ever have a chance, and no, it's not gonna be fun. Just to be clear, like if you have if you find yourself in Eastern Germany or in Poland, and you have a chance to visit the Auschwitz-Birkenau museum now, you should very much do that because it's absolutely fucking shatteringly devastating. It's brutal as fuck.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know when or if I'll ever go abroad. I would love to go abroad at some point. I just haven't,
Mhm.
I'm 24-year-old man still going to college, so I'm kind of strapped at the moment, but
Mhm.
definitely would like to. I don't know if I would want to go to a concentration camp, maybe, just to say I've been there, but I don't know. It seems
I
like
think
one
it's
where you have to like mentally prepare for something like that.
yeah, you definitely have to sort of like understand what you're getting yourself into, but like it is impressive in like because we talk about genocides and there's all kinds of ways of genociding people and so forth. Like the sheer like industrial level of it, like what Scarfield said, like you have like huge like heaps of just like hair and stuff, like it's like sorted by kind and stuff, and like you very literally like just like use humans as material and just like take them apart and you know pile up the different things that you might want to use for whatever something later, and that's and you can talk about that. I mean, I'm doing it right now, but like it does not actually reach the thing that you experience when you're standing in front of it and go like, holy shit, this is like I'm not proud of it, right? Like, just to be clear, right? I think it's
I think Germany's been taking that L for the past like 80 years. So I mean, I think most people aren't proud of that.
you'd be surprised. There's some people. But like the thing is
That's
like
true. Neo Nazis do exist. So
they sadly do, but like I feel like visiting like Auschwitz-Birkenau in particular is definitely the kind of thing that does leave like a lifelong impression on you. You go out of that place a changed person.
yeah,
Hopefully
I've heard that.
for the better.
Though, there one thing that really pisses me off is when I see people like taking selfies at like Auschwitz. I'm like, dude, like have some fucking decorum. Like, come on. It's not cool, man. I mean, I know there's stupid people out there, but like that's just not like that's just disrespectful.
Yeah. It was a fucking Pokemon arena in
Will do,
Pokemon Go.
Mac. Definitely will think of that if I ever go to Scandinavia. You're like,
It's
yes,
one of those like really fascinating
getting
things
in
when
touch with my roots.
it's one of those like really fascinating things, like when they booted up Pokemon Go, they took over the maps from Ingression, which was like Google's first like augmented reality game, and that was built on like Google Maps. So they just like took places that had like a lot of hits on and notes and stuff on Google Maps, and turned them into like gates and then like Pokestops and arenas and shit like that. Without like because you do that for the entire globe, you just don't think about it. Which means that like tourist places had like a high chance of becoming important locations.
Oh,
So for the first couple of days, you had a bunch of people going like hunting Pokemons in fucking Auschwitz because no one actually figured that it might be clever to actually not have that.
Darnell asked if I have read Viktor Frankl. That's the guy who did Man's Search for Meaning, right? I have not read him, by the way. I would like to. But if he's the guy who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, that is a book I've been wanting to read for a long time. But yeah, no, it's I mean, genocide isn't a fun subject. I know it's probably not a hot take. It's like, Jesus, man, you know? It's like when you talk about grooming, you know, like that's not something fun to talk about, you know?
No, it's not. But the thing is, like, apparently it's very important to do that because
To groom people?
people are so easy to forget, like what what like an industrial genocide looks like.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's like
Got a little mixed up there.
apparently we need to keep talking about it all the time because otherwise people will just go like, "Hey, we
And
kind
what's
of
even I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, no, it's no, you're good."
I was just gonna say what's even worse about like the Nate King situation, which again, haven't read the book. What I know is from like videos and stuff I've watched. But like Japan is still kind of like, you know, we ain't touching that. Like genocide, magic, nothing. Nope. Didn't happen, basically. And they're getting away with it. They're literally doing what fucking neo-Nazis are trying to do, except they can get away with it because, you know, not as many people care about that as they do, you know, the Holocaust. Also,
Yeah,
unfortunately, it wasn't
that
as
is.
immensely, it wasn't as intensely documented as the Holocaust.
I think it's also, and this is sort of like the fucked up part, right? Like it's also still like a racist situation because we care more about stuff that happens in Western Europe than stuff that happens in East Asia. So we don't care that much about Nanking because it's fucking China. Who cares, right? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah,
There
it's
is that level
fucked
to
up.
that as well,
I mean,
and I
that's
think it's
fucked up.
important to understand that. Yeah, no, no, of course it's fucked up. That's the point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely yeah, I really don't know what I can say about it that isn't already said. It's just it's really fucked up. And in all honesty, I definitely have to mentally prepare before, you know, reading a book like that because oof, you know, like when you see a
Yeah,
picture of a guy waving around a baby on a bayonet, like that'll stick with you for the rest of your life. So, you know, I saw that photo and I'm just like, fuck, man, like, you know, like,
you remember
no.
that part in once again in Blood
That's
Meridian
true.
when
Yeah, it's
you
funny you
know.
say that because it's like that there's literally a scene of a tree with fucking dead babies on it, and you're like, that's
Yeah.
fucked up. It's even more fucked up because it's like that's normal to those guys by that point. That's kind of what Blood Meridian is all about, is just how you get desensitized to just
Yeah,
constant violence.
yeah, and I think it's like both sides are important. You need to understand this does actually happen, but also you need to look at like how do people end up in those kind of situations, and both sides, both things are really important in a lot of ways. Like I did study history at university, and you end up with like a lot of like fucked up shit if you study history.
In all honesty, man, if you read about the rape of Nanking, you'll probably just be disgusted with Japan being like, again, in all honesty, I think Hirohito or whatever the guy's name was, the Emperor of Japan, that him and his gaggle should have been tried and executed for crimes against humanity after that stunt. That is just deplorable. They should have fucking denazified Japan like they did to Germany, but can't really do everything right, can you? I
I
mean,
mean,
look at America. We should have
the
fucked.
denazification of
I mean,
Germany was very haphazard. To be fair,
Look at
like
America. We should have fucking shot those traitors after the end of the Civil War, and we're still suffering from the after effects of that.
that's true. I think like yeah,
AKA, if I were a leader, I'll put it this way: this is why I don't want to become a leader. Because if I were a leader, I would probably be super bloodthirsty if if a war happens. I'd be like, execute all these fucking people. You know. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. That is true. They did basically just, you know what? I won't get. Well, that's what they thought. But sorry, Raph. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was
No, all
ranting
good.
about how we don't denazify enough, and
No,
it really angers
like
me.
denazification in Germany was also very, very haphazard. To be clear, like
Yeah, but like they basically got all the perpetrators. Well, a lot of them anyway. They didn't get all of them, but and like executed them basically. You didn't see
they
that in
they,
Japan.
they made a show trial for like a bunch of people, but like what you need to understand is like a lot of like, and that's like the problem with like something like Nazi Germany after World War II, right? It's like you want to build up a new country. You need people that know how to do country stuff, like you need people that are judges. You need people that know how to run a country, and just about like everyone who did that was part of the Nazi regime, or were socialists and had fled to Moscow, and was thus not acceptable to the U.S. and British people in post 1945. So you can't have those people. So you need to
Yeah,
sort
Israel
of
and
find ways
Palestine.
to
That's another.
rehabilitate the like Nazi people, because we can't have the communists doing this, can
That's
we?
another clusterfuck out there in fucking Palestine and Israel. I actually heard of. You know what? I won't go there. I won't go there. Actually, that's too spicy even for me. I don't mind talking about controversial subjects, as our conversation about genocide just demonstrated. But like, I'm
Yeah.
not fucking around. I'm not dealing the. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna fuck around with Israel and Palestine. It's too touchy.
That's very simple. It's a genocide. That's the point. It's like you can argue about history and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff to be argued about when it comes to history. Right? What's happening right now is a genocide, and it's very simple to call it a genocide. The rest we could talk about, but like what's happening right now is a genocide, and the world is not doing anything about it. And I don't know. Not doing anything about genocides is kind of bad, or so I've been told.
But in all honesty, it's yeah. In all honesty, it's just it's been it's been bad. It's bad. That's all I'll say. No one. That's the thing about this world, right? It's everything's compromised on some level or another.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I was getting at earlier with like Terry Pratchett, right? Like there's a lot of like gray, muddled area, because being human is about fucking up and being muddled and gray and so forth. But there are there are things that are unambiguously evil, and there are things that are unambiguously good. And when it comes
Like
to
Carrot,
what's
I would say
happening,
is unambiguously good.
what?
Like Carrot, I would say he
Yeah,
is
yeah,
unambiguously good.
very much. But like what's happening in Gaza right now is unambiguously evil, and we don't need to like we step beyond the level where it is about justifying it through history or whatever. What is happening right now is a genocide, and that is evil. And we have decided as a global society that genocides are unambiguously evil, but we're still looking away, and that is the fucked up part about it. It's like I have like very, very complicated feelings about Israel. I've been there twice. I have my brother-in-law's
I
family
think
is
there's even
there.
Israeli like liberal groups who are trying to get people to
Of
step out
course.
of Palestine at the moment.
Yeah, that's the point,
So,
because it is
so it's not just
fundamentally
everybody
evil and
in
fucked up.
Israel. Yeah, I don't really like Netanyahu as a leader. I don't think he's particularly.
In a situation where the Philadelphia Eagles exist, Benjamin Netanyahu still manages to be the worst thing that ever came out of Philadelphia. Now he was born in Philadelphia. He grew up in Philadelphia.
You know what I'd like to read? I'd like to read Joe Sacco's Palestine at some point. The comic, the graphic novel, if you will. I don't really like that term, But yeah, I've wanted to read that. I've been wanting to read a little more about the Israel Palestine thing because
I highly
but it's
recommend.
but it's such a like clusterfuck, like I've said, because it's like there's so much like bad blood and people killing each other and terrorist attacks on both sides. It's a mess. It's a fucking mess.
I highly recommend
No.
reading Maror and Adama and next month Golgotha by Lavi Tidar. Those are very well researched historical novels about stuff happening in that situation, and how organized crime and stuff sort of like have fucked up like Israeli Palestinian like history over the last century or so. I highly recommend that because everything in those novels is based on historical research. Like nothing is like almost nothing has been invented in that stuff, and it's still kind of because it's crime
Yeah,
fiction.
China's fuck China, to be honest with you. It's there. I don't. Here's the thing: a lot of people like don't. A lot of people kind of misunderstand. Like, I don't like authoritarianism at all. I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't even give a fuck if it's capitalist authoritarianism. Even that's happened before, like in Pinochet and in Chile. I just don't like authoritarianism in general. So yeah, fuck China and fuck the whole government over there. They're terrible. I don't really. Then again, I don't really think a lot of governments are particularly ethical. So there you go. That's kind of. It's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, like trying to find excuses to actually send the fucking National Guard into Chicago does not sound like
Yeah, that's
democratic to
gonna
me
be a
either.
fucking mess.
It's like
God bless America. That's all I gotta say. Like, look, I might be pro-capitalism, but I still think Pinochet was an evil person and terrible person who basically made everyone's lives a lot worse. I'll just say that. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, that's a euphemism, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think like so I've said this before, and it's one of the things that
Because
like
it's like
really.
it's kind of thing that bothers me about certain
Mhm.
people who are adhering to a certain ideology. There's even people I respect who've done this. They like put their morals and like what they believe to the side to prop up an authoritarian regime just because they believe in the thing that they support. I'm like that's not right.
That's like one
Two
of the
wrong.
things like
Basically, it's the whole like two wrongs don't make a right, and maybe that's a bit idealistic of me to say, but like that's what I think.
No, it's not. You can never be too idealistic. That's the fundamental things. Like idealism is what we need because, like you have people go like, "Oh, China is communist." It's like China is a lot of things, but China is not communist right now. Yes, it's called the Communist Party of China. It's not communism. It's so far away from anything communist. It's ridiculous. Anyway, one of the things that like fucked me up with like talking about China and the Uyghurs.
Be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
All right. When I read that book about Facebook, Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams, which is not a good book um, for all kinds of reasons, but one of the weird things is she's like, well, and China has an authoritarian regime that persecutes people like the Uyghurs and Falun Gong. And there are some fundamental differences between Falun Gong and the Uyghurs. One of them being, the Uyghurs being an ethnic group that happens to be mostly Muslim, whereas Falun Gong is, a Christian far right sect that runs the Epoch Times, does the slave labor bill, sort of like children's child labor ballet show, Shen Yun, and all of that kind of stuff. And yes, persecuting either one is fucked up, but there is a fundamental, difference in category between Uyghurs and Falun Gong. And trained diplomat Selwyn-Williams is apparently not able to actually differentiate between the two, which probably explains why no one cares about New Zealand.
You
But
know,
yeah,
that might be
yeah.
the smartest thing you've said in a while, John. He says China is an oligarchical dictatorship which started with the communist revolution. It's a thing. It will happen again if we go that way. Which, you know what? Solid point there, John. It's a bit worrying. Not even a bit. It's quite worrying actually, because basically Trump's like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and he's trying to put something down in Chicago, which like what the fuck does that even mean? It's just it's.
Thurnol, on the one hand, he
Republic.
built like a really magnificent palace, the Palace of the People, which, holy shit, is that thing fucked up. And here's one of my long-term projects, like how like Balkan beers are always ending in sko, and you have like Ojesko, and you have Skopsko from Skopje, and you have all of these like different Pirinsko from Pirin in Bulgaria and so forth. My goal was to start like a Romanian brewery that sells beer that's called Jaresko, and see how that works. Probably not too good, but that's my thoughts on Jaresko.
Yeah, no, yeah, no.
That's all the Balkan jokes I have, and I know that Romania does not consider itself to be Balkan. I'm aware of that.
Well, it's Russia. Well, it's Slavia, so everyone's always getting raw dogged out there.
Romanian is not a Slavic language, though. Romanian it's very weird mix of Balkan and Romanic language, so it has like much more in common with like Italian and stuff like that. It's a weird thing.
I think it's probably not a hot take to say that the world is a fucking mess right now. Now there might be some edgelords out there who goes, well, the world was always a mess, and it's partially true. But right now it just seems like we're about to fucking start shooting each other. Like, I remember when Trump was elected, I was legitimately nervous that there might be a fucking, not a civil war or anything, not that crazy. Though any other day, I wish I could be saying this, but I'm afraid that there might be. I was legitimately nervous there would be like riots in the street and people start shooting each other, like gets real, just completely just chaos basically. Now, luckily that has not happened yet, but if it might just how bad things have gotten, I don't know. Something's gonna blow up. Is all I'm gonna say. Something is gonna explode, and it is gonna be bad for everyone involved.
Yeah, Max Garfield, you're right. It's romance is the word I was looking for, not romantic. My
I don't know what you think about this, Raf. I mean, you're not an American. You live all the way out in Germany.
Yeah,
but it's yeah.
I feel like your country is fucked. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think
it's I mean, again, it might be a bit idealistic of me to say this. I mean, at least we can still, talk freely about this kind of fucking sucks. They haven't had I haven't been black bagged yet, but now if I were black or brown, that might be another situation entirely. But hey, I'm gonna take my wins where I can take them. Because I try to be optimistic, and all these fucking like leftists who think like we're turning into fucking Nazi Germany come out and they're like, "Oh well, you're a white person," and I'm just like, "Shut the fuck up, all right? Let me have my wins here."
Now I think two things. Like Thornall, like because I studied history, I've known like a bunch of historians and archaeologists from Romania and around the area, and the whole concept of the Dacians is like most of it is like a nationalist sort of like construct of the current political system. It's the stuff we can actually prove through like excavations and stuff is unfortunately very limited, but yeah. Anyway, um, the thing is, like, with the US right now is that what annoys me so much about it when it comes to politics is that people go like, how could this happen, and you blame Donald Trump. It's like, no, this is like the result of like a very long sort of like campaign by the far right and the Christian, like evangelical, apocalyptic Christian evangelical right, like not all Christian denominations or anything, right? Like, but you have a certain, the kind of people that go and
the fundamentalists is I'm
yeah,
assuming you're
and
talking
can we
about.
can we just also be very very happy that James Dobson finally died this
Well, I
week,
don't
which
believe
is
in celebrating people's deaths from the sounds of it. He was not a nice person,
no,
so
that's about, like, I'm not celebrating his death, but I'm like, finally, like, look, I am relieved that he is finally gone, is what I'm saying. I
fine,
don't
I'll
have
grant
to
you that.
I don't have to
I was
dance
just
on
gonna
his
say
grave.
it's probably not. It's probably I'll just say the world is probably better off without him. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, my point is that you have like a very long sort of like strategy of different aspects of different aspects of, like, the neoliberal capitalist reactionary right and the religious right, and like all of these groups coming together and building towards where we are right now. And that is not something that happened when, fucking Donald Trump took that fucking escalator down and was like, hey, has anyone ever figured out like where that like birth certificate came from? That is not where it started. It's sort of like the result that we have now. And the
Yeah,
fact that
on that
is focusing on the last, like, I don't know, 8 years is part of the problem in a lot of ways,
yeah,
because
on that I definitely agree. Like, here's the thing that fucking annoys me about progressives. They get so like they're so shocked that Donald Trump got fucking elected. And I'm just like, and they're acting like it's all Trump's fault. And I'm just like, guys, you fucking helped him get into the office. Like, I won't go into that because again, it's a fucking mess. But it's just blaming it on, it's a mess. That's all I'll say. It's a mess. I don't. It's no one is thinking fucking rationally. They're like, oh, it's all the religious right's fault, and it's like, yes, partially, but I don't know. I don't know how to say this actually. So I'll just stop talking for right now.
I think it's one of the things that I learned over the years by, reading, studying history and so forth. And you read something like, and I highly recommend reading Anti-Intellectualism in American Life by Richard Hofstadter. And Hofstadter is not, just to be clear, Hofstadter is not a leftist. Hofstadter is a somewhat conservative liberal, or like was a somewhat conservative liberal, and he wrote The Paranoid Style in American Politics and Anti-Intellectualism in American Life. And he is very good at pointing out sort of like where like historical sort of like the historical roots of things kind of come from in American politics and American discourse in a lot of ways. He is, as a somewhat moderately conservative liberal, way too optimistic when it comes to sort of like the idea that good education and so forth will win. But I think it's important to read that kind of stuff to understand that these roots go fucking very, 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 very deep. And
By the way, John, it's irrational, but whatever. I partially agree with this. I honestly think the Democrats fucking blew their chance when they realized Joe Biden couldn't fucking debate with Donald Trump. It was obvious. It was obvious to everybody. Once that happened, they completely lost credibility. Once they're like, hey, Joe, we're going to have to bump you out of the way so we can put Kamala Harris in, completely lost any sort of credibility whatsoever. I do I regret not voting? I'm sure in hindsight I probably will, but I at right now I don't. I really don't, because it's such a fucking shit show right now. It is ridiculous. Like, they completely just they lost any sort of credibility when they realized, even though everyone with half a fucking brain cell, even the most fucking brain rotted fucking MAGA hat person understood that Joe Biden was not fucking qualified whatsoever to be, to be doing anything regarding the presidency. It's such a fucking joke out here in America. I was actually complaining about it on Twitter the other day, as you do. Is that right? I didn't know that. I'm actually kind of surprised, honestly. We're a pretty red state out here. A lot of people are acting like a lot of my, family members like, oh, Elon getting Twitter is actually good. And I'm like, really? All right. Because, I love my family and I'm not, I don't want to fucking argue politics with them because they don't fucking understand history all that much. I love my family, but, they don't. It's just like, oh my God. It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
And that's like, I mean, like when it comes to American politics now, obviously I'm an outsider and all that, but like I feel like the problem with American politics is that you don't, and it's the same with like German politics at the moment, although it's getting slightly better. It's like you don't actually have like a strong left. Like you have a very strong far right, and the Republican Party under Trump is like far right at this point.
Oh yeah.
And it's far right, and you have like a center right, and that's the Democrats. You have nothing on the left, so which makes it so difficult to actually have like any sort of like political discourse, because you're missing like at least half of the political spectrum. It's like I'm not telling anyone to vote for like the fucking Stalinists or anything, right? Like I would not do that myself. I'm not a Stalinist. I'm not a communist. I'm an anarchist. But like by virtue of like lacking an entire sort of like half of a political spectrum, any kind of political discourse is fundamentally skewed and kind of broken to begin with, because for like most people, half of the political options are just not even on the table. It's like you need to actually go and read like fucking underground zines to understand that like there are options left of the Democrats. It's like
it's also America's pretty resistant to like far left ideas because we watch what happened in Russia and we're like, yeah, we don't want that to happen. So
it's so fascinating in a lot of ways, the way those things did happen, because America did have like a very strong sort of like labor movement in like the late 19th century and the early 20th century, and then arguably one of like America's most racist presidents put Eugene Debs into prison because he was against World War One. And fuck Woodrow Wilson, one of the worst presidents
fuck Woodrow
ever.
Wilson. I fuck with you today, Ref. Fuck Woodrow Wilson. That guy's an asshole, or he was an asshole.
Yeah, and I think like since then you kind of lost to like. And
we are not getting subscribers after talking.
No, like so he's my point though. Like I think you need to have like a relatively broad sort of like political spectrum to have like a general like political discourse. You have to like general political discourse, and because if people want to disagree with something, they still need to know that it exists. And the moment where like you don't have like any like. If Bernie Sanders is the most leftist kind of politician that Americans know, you guys have a problem. You have like a massive fucking problem, because Bernie Sanders is not leftist. Like he's a social democrat. He would be like center to center right in Germany, basically, with his politics, which are still good. Don't get me wrong. But you're missing so much of like just like the political spectrum that makes like discourse so difficult. And I think that's like part of the problem. Is like,
so are you saying America should flirt with socialism? Because I don't know if that's a great idea, personally speaking, but
I think
you do you, man.
I don't say you need to flirt with whatever. I need to I think you need to understand that the political spectrum is far wider, because if you limit it to like just those 2 or 3 options, it makes it very difficult to sort of like have like an actual informed discourse. Once again, I'm not saying you should all become Stalinists. Please
Well,
don't. Stalin
I'm not.
sucks.
I didn't say that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
I
you
just,
said that.
no, but like I think it's important to have that spectrum like actually up for discourse, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if Bernie Sanders is the furthest left you can go, it's like what does that actually say about like your view of politics as a country? I'm not saying like people like left of Bernie Sanders would be like very popular, but like they're not even like they're not even on the table. You know what I mean? It's not even like a possibility. And that I think is like important to understand, that you need to have these things on the table, because if Bernie Sanders is the most left, then fucking groypers are like apparently part of the political spectrum, which they shouldn't be.
Also, to be honest, I don't even think like Trump is even that politically motivated. Like the only thing
No.
he cares about is himself. Like
Yes.
that's off. Anyone with fucking brain cells knows this. Unless you're like a fucking dyed-in-the-wool Trumpist, or if you're one of those people, kind of like my dad, who don't really give a shit and just are kind of like, yeah, whatever. Which fine. Also, we're very hostile to third parties for some reason. I'm like, it's probably, it might be a good idea, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, that's partly like on like how your political system is built up, that it is very difficult for like a third party to actually become like relevant. Like the idea that you have like it's similar to like the UK, right? You have like this like, and it always kind of baffles me when I compare it to like Germany. Germany's like always had like coalitions. It's like never like one party basically runs the whole thing. You always have to do like coalitions with someone else, and sometimes it's the Social Democrats and the Christian Democrats, which are the what they call themselves conservatives. They're like pretty fucking reactionary at this point. But you have this mix, or you have like the Green Party and the Social Democrats, or in some countries, some states, you have like the conservatives together with the Green Party, because obviously there's some overlap between those once they realize that
I thought Jill Stein was probably the closest to a leftist we have in our country, aside from maybe like, I don't know, that one guy who won in New York, and like Bernie Sanders. What's that dude's name that all the Democrats are gooning over right now, and all the Republicans like,
oh, you mean like Zoran Mamdani?
Yeah, that guy.
And he's still like a very like, he's a center left kind of guy, I would say. He's like, yeah, he calls himself a democratic socialist, but like his politics seem pretty tame. I feel like his big crime was to go like, as a mayor of New York, I am not going to actually talk about politics in Israel, which is like, you're a mayor of a city. You should not actually be asked about foreign policy. It's not like you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just, it's a mess. It's a mess, man.
But like the way that like politics have been sort of like squashed down to like 2 options, I think is like really difficult to sort of like get out of in lots of ways. And like, I don't know how to fix like American politics, but like I feel like having more than 2 parties, and having like forcing like people to actually make coalitions with like different parties to come to compromises is generally like a good thing, because it does lead to sort of like people having to sort of think about stuff and go like, hey, what can we actually trade on, and so forth. And we don't have that, and I mean, you don't have that. And
yeah, I remember Steve Donahue was fucking going off on rants about how he thought like the what the fuck was he saying? He was talking about something on April the 20th, because it was going to be Hitler's birthday or some shit. America was going to do something crazy. It didn't happen from all accounts. But Ben Shapiro is a fucking guy. Ben Shapiro's a fucking idiot. Like, he's basically like that guy who like idiots think is a smart person. Just I don't like Ben Shapiro. Jordan Peterson, I don't really have any opinions on one way or the other. And I don't really like the mainstream Republican Party. I'll just put it that way. Even though I ostensibly lean right, I don't really like the I don't really enjoy the modern Republican Party. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I don't fucking like Dave Rubin. I think they've turned very reactionary and authoritarian, which I think is very, very frightening, very scary. Maybe not scary is too strong a word. Definitely frightening, which is a synonym, but nonetheless, I hope you get what I mean.
I have like views on all of them. I'll talk about them in a second, but I need to get like a new beer and stuff before I talk about Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson. I have like views on Jordan Peterson, and they are not good.
Yeah, I don't really care for Jordan Peterson one way or the other. He's one of those guys who I think he is smart when he's talking about certain things, but when he says other certain things, he just kind of comes off as an idiot. Which I don't know how helpful that is, but I don't really have much of an opinion on him one way or the other. A lot of leftists kind of treat him as like a boogeyman, which is always kind of annoying.
I think at this point they just like treat him as a punching bag because he has become such a laughing stock at this point.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't fucking know.
I mean, you remember you remember the milking thing, right?
I don't recall what that was exactly. You might have to remind me.
Okay, I'll mention that one, and then I'm gonna get myself another beer, and then I'll talk about Jordan Peterson and the other thing in detail. But like, so a while ago, Jordan Peterson shared on his Twitter account a picture from a milking fetish porn thing.
Oh God.
Because he thought that it was was proof of the Chinese government having a breeding program for Superman. And that is the thing you need to understand about Jordan Peterson. His brain has been fundamentally broken through all kinds of things, but this person sees a picture from like milking porn and goes like, "Oh, clearly China is doing like eugenics," which is and that's kind of my problem with like Jordan Peterson's like he's evil. He's done a lot of like harm, but he's also someone I feel bad for because clearly at this point he's just like a wreck. He's so fucking broken. Anyway, I'm gonna get myself a beer and then I'm gonna talk about all of that stuff. But until then, talk more about Jordan Peterson, Britton.
Oh yeah, I'll just filibuster about like I don't really know enough about Jordan Peterson. Yeah, I'll do that.
Just say chaos and throw in some like Jungian metaphors and shadow work and shit, and you'll be fine.
I have thought about reading Jordan Peterson. What's that book he called? Like 12 Rules for Life or something like that. I've definitely thought of reading it just to see what all the fuss is about, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Yeah, he has nice suits, but does that really say anything though? Ben Shapiro though, that guy's a fucking clown. Like seriously, he's that guy who like people my dad's age, people like my dad think are smart. He's a fucking idiot. And like many weird right-wing reactionary types, he picks the weirdest fucking hills to die on as well. So yeah, I don't like Ben Shapiro. I don't think Ben Shapiro is particularly he doesn't seem like a very thoughtful or he doesn't seem like that kind of in person. And he quite honestly makes an ass out of himself quite a lot. So, not one I really pay attention to or take seriously. And honestly, when you consider like actually good conservative thinkers, like, maybe like William Buckley Jr. or uh, you know, Bill Kristol, who, I have my disagreements with those guys, but I actually think they're relatively sane, with exceptions. They definitely have done shady things, but I do think those people are relatively sane in contrast to someone like Ben Shapiro, who's just a fucking moron who doesn't know what he's talking about. But yeah, that's kind of again. So yeah, sorry if my filibustering made no sense whatsoever. That wasn't really what I was hoping for, but yeah, that's what I think about certain conservative thinkers. It's honestly, if you watch an episode of Firing Line and then watch fucking like Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh, who's another fucking clown, by the way. I don't recommend watching Matt Walsh unless you
No,
want to
he's
lose
dumb as
brain
fuck.
cells. Yeah, he's stupid. Anyway, like go watch an episode of The Firing Line. You will be shocked by just how like holy shit, they're just talking about fucking issues beguiling the day and they're not yelling at each other. And there's no stupid stuff about transgender people or gay. Like it's actual serious conversations about issues, which is what the political media should be. But I digress. Anyway, Raph, you're back.
I am back, yes. I think to say some things fundamentally when it comes to like Ben Shapiro, like the Daily Wire, all that kind of stuff. I highly recommend everyone go and read Hayek's Bastards by Quinn Slobodian, which is a really good book explaining how you have this split in like neoliberal history and thought history between your, neoliberal sort of like especially like the neoconservative neoliberal side of things, and the how it kind of splits off into like the libertarian far right with your Murray Rothbards and Charles Murrays, and suddenly race and all this kind of stuff becomes really important for those kind of people. And I think it's important to understand that because it does tie into where a certain part of the supposedly conservative right kind of comes in. And that's like where, Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Matt walsh kind of come in. And it's interesting to see that with like how Ben Shapiro kind of split with Candace Owens, for example, where they were all together on like when it came to, being dickheads towards the, human beings, and once Candace Owens kind of went into like her like full-on anti-Semitic arc, Ben Shapiro had a bit of a problem because Ben Shapiro is Jewish, so certain things are suddenly out of bounds. And
I do appreciate that Ben Shapiro is anti-reactionary. I mean, he does have some reactionary opinions, but generally he is not as batshit insane as a Candace Owens, if you will. Because, he's Jewish. So that would look really fucking weird if he started parroting Decline of the West nonsense.
I mean, he's doing Decline of the West, but he has to always sort of like make Decline of the West stuff without becoming anti-Semitic, and that's
or racist.
Sort of like, I don't know, like he's happy to be racist as long as it's racist against brown people and stuff. Like, have you read his like novels about like killing Muslims in Afghanistan and stuff? Like, don't.
I haven't, and I don't really want to because it
No,
seems kind of like a
don't.
waste of time.
Yeah,
I'd rather waste time reading good books, or at least books I find interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So, I feel like there's a lot of like stuff coming into that. Like Jordan Peterson kind of is on the side of that. And like Jordan Peterson is, for me, is fascinating in that Jordan Peterson feels like someone who does genuinely care about human beings. He's just like also very, very convinced of his own sort of like correctness and incapable of making any compromises. And what happened at a specific point in like Peterson's career is him, gaining a lot of like following online with genuinely good sort of like self-help tips about, look, like the 12 rules for life. Most of those are pretty good rules, like, stand up straight, not bad, clean your room. I'm not doing that because fuck Jordan Peterson, but like he's like objectively he's right. Like clean your room is a good sort of like rule. Pet a cat, also like a really good rule. Like there's some very basic sort of like self-help stuff, and that's where he got like a lot of like his audience. And what happens with a specific sort of like generation, and in that area, I would say Jordan Peterson is much more like J.K. Rowling than anyone else in a lot of ways, because it's you reach that point where because you're not, sort of like you didn't grow up with like social media or whatever. You start valuing social media support in weird ways, which means that you're incredibly susceptible to sort of like love bombing from the far right, for example. And it's like you have like one bad take, and the left goes like, "You fucking asshole! You said this one thing," because
That's what they do.
yes, and yeah, that's what the left does. And then you have the far right goes like, no, no, you're right. And it's very easy if you're not used to like the general like sort of like online discourse kind of thing, where you go like, of course it's just the left is doing the leftist thing, I'm going to ignore them for a second. It's very easy to sort of like go down fall down that specific rabbit hole, and you suddenly realize that you sort of like need to keep escalating to keep that sort of like support and that love kind of flowing. So you kind of radicalize yourself in a lot of ways. And I feel that both J.K. Rowling and Jordan Peterson have very much done that in a lot of ways. And that's sort of like where Jordan Peterson kind of comes in, because like, I mean, obviously, I think he's fucking wrong when it comes to all the evolutionary psychology, because I think evolutionary psychology is bullshit. In that,
Yeah, I think that's what Darwin meant when he was talking about natural selection and all that. But of course, racists being racist. I don't know if Jordan Peterson is a racist. Again, I don't really know all that much about him, except for he does what a lot of right-wing people do and just freak out about fucking non-issues like trans people, which, like, who cares?
yeah, because I've seen that, and that's sort of like the
I'll
thing
be
with
back.
like that's sort of the thing with like Ben Shapiro, right? It's like Ben Shapiro is a neoconservative neoliberal, and he does have some sort of like moral sort of like principles in at some point. They're very different from mine, but like he does have those, and his entire career is sort of like built right now on constantly compromising his personal like moral boundaries, because otherwise he'll just like be eaten by all the fascists he's attracted. And I'm gonna build an example in, like, probably most people won't understand that unless you're like into German politics, but like Germany's current like far right party, the AfD, Alternative for Germany party, started out by a bunch of like somewhat conservative neoliberal economics professors being like, hey, we need to change, we're not exactly fans of the euro as a currency, and we need to go back to the Deutsche Mark and stuff like that. And to gain like more popularity, they let in some more conservative people, and at the first opportunity they get like cooed out of the party and kicked out of the party by the conservative people. And those conservative people then went and started to pull in like further, like more reactionary people, to sort of like pull in like a larger audience and so forth. And the next opportunity, those conservative people then got kicked out by the reactionary people, and the reactionary people then pulled in like the far right people, and they have been kicked out by the far right people. And Ben Shapiro is an example for that, because he starts out as like a fairly well off, like rich kid, slightly socially conservative kind of person, but he does make bargains with people that are further and further and further to the right. And that means like for him to not get kicked out of like Daily Wire, which he can't because he's like a part-time owner or whatever. But like, he has to make all these compromises with himself and his morals and get in all of these people, and it's very difficult. And you like every time Ben Shapiro does something right now, you can see him going. He's not a happy person right now. He suffers, but he has to kind of do that because otherwise the whole thing breaks down. Because he's made all these like I would call them Faustian bargains, but they're like more like a straight arm, a straight hand kind of bargain, not like a fist. But like you know what he did, right? Like he made all these deals with the far right to stay relevant, and now he's sort of like dealing with the consequences. And yes, he kicked out Candace Owens because she just like went too far. Because holy shit, did she go too far? But yeah.
It's like the right just keeps going further and further each
Yeah,
day.
of course.
Like
No,
you're
because
just
it's the logic of like social media, because the far right is so social media bound. The logic of social media is you need to escalate, you need to ramp it up, you need to be more aggressive, you need to be faster, you need to be louder, you need to be more aggressive. And if you translate that to like politics, I don't know, it's not gonna end, well, I guess. Oh, no, but I agree with you, Thornell. Jordan Peterson doesn't know anything about mythology. Like, what's this called? Maps of Meaning. What an insanely stupid book. And I haven't read the one about Christianity, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't understand Christianity either.
Yeah, I find he's one of those guys. If he's in his lane, he generally does well. But if he tries to like talk about like, I don't fucking know, like political issues, he tends to falter. So I don't know. I kind of share your. I kind of feel bad for him because he just seems kind of gone off the rails in recent years.
No, yeah, Jordan Peterson is just like, his mind is broken, his body is broken, he's completely broken, and people are just like making as much money as they can get out of him before he dies, and that's kind of that's kind of sad. But I feel like, and this is sort of like something that I feel is important that kind of often gets lost, and at the fundamental, like absolute, like outside of like any party politics or anything like that. You watch people like Matt Walsh, in particular, what a fucking asshole. You watch even Ben Shapiro. You watch all of these people. These are not nice people. They have like no fucking empathy for human beings. Like even like look, there's people I disagree with fundamentally when it comes to politics or whatever, but I still feel bad for them, and I will still help them if they need help. If they are on the street begging for money, I will give them money. If they need food, even if Ben Shapiro needs a couch to sleep on, he can sleep on my couch. I'm pretty sure that would not go the other way around. And that's the fundamental difference. And that's sort of like what makes so much of the sort of like populist right so despicable to me, is that they are not, they have like no fucking empathy, because their politics make it impossible to have empathy and have those kind of politics at the same time. And that is where it kind of breaks down. Like, we can argue about like all the other stuff. Like, I would let Matt Walsh sleep on my couch. Matt Walsh would not let me sleep on his couch, and that's the difference. And that's why Matt Walsh is a bad human being at the end of the day. And beyond like all the politics, that's what kind of counts for me. Is like, be a nice guy at the end of the day, and he's not.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't really have much else to say aside from that. It's been well, to talk about some somewhat lighter news of less controversial things that irritate me. It seems BookTube is up in arms once again about something or another, about Audible, I guess, which okay. I mean, them fucking
they're
over
right to be up
authors.
in
I
arms
mean,
about
that's
it.
not cool. But I mean, I don't know when BookTube gets up in arms about stuff, like I maybe I'm just a bad person, but it's sometimes hard for me to sympathize, with exceptions, of course.
I
Like,
feel like the problem with like, and I'm as we speak, I made a video about it and it's currently rendering. I'm gonna upload it in a bit. My problem with like the whole like booktube talking about Audible discourse is that yes, Audible is bad. Audible fucks over authors all the time. Audible fucks over customers all the time. That's because Audible is like does have the monopoly when it comes to audiobooks. Yes, there are other companies that do Audible audiobook stuff, but they are so small that like functionally Audible has the monopoly. What you do if you have a monopoly is you maximize profits by fucking over both customers and producers as much as you can. That's like built in. That is a function of how we do economics.
Like I was saying this yesterday on your podcast, but I got or on your not podcast, your stream. But like I was kind of fucking pissed off when I saw Daniel Green making videos about it, because it's just like what the fuck, man? Like, get your fucking act together before you start talking about other shit that's going on. But which again, I know it's not really like a political thing. That's more just like me being like a personal thing. But like, I just see people it's almost like they're talking out our asses and they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I haven't seen the Daniel Green videos, so I'm totally talking out of my ass here. But
I think
it's just kind
of, I would disagree with you in that his personal stuff has like does not have like it has nothing to do with like the economics of like the Audible stuff. My problem is that like,
I probably agree with you on that. It's just kind of I don't know. It's just I don't know why he has to fucking put his hat in the ring on this situation. Maybe it's because
he's one of the biggest like booktubers, especially when it comes to fantasy. So he kind of has to, because
is Big as Bad still here? He had some entertaining comments the other day about yesterday about Daniel Green. So hopefully you're still here, because it's just like I don't know. It's
I think like my problem with the whole thing is that yes, Audible is terrible. It's bad. We all know that. We all knew that. We've all known that forever. And then you see people go like, well, Audible is paying authors really badly, so now I'm using Spotify because it's paying authors slightly better. And I'm like, it's fucking Spotify that has been shafting musicians for fucking ever. Yes, they're paying authors better right now because they want to take away market shares from Audible, but you are supporting a company that is at least as predatory and as bad as Amazon. So like, I don't know, maybe we need to actually force people to actually read at least one or two books on economics before they are allowed to actually talk about stuff on the internet. I don't know. It's bad, is what I'm saying. It's like,
so yes, we both dislike this. We both dislike this trend just for differing reasons. Because I just find that I just find that Daniel Green talking about moral integrity is kind of rich, I might say. And look, hey, I'm not, I'm not. He seems to have cleaned up his act. Whatever, I don't care about that. But like, you're not a fucking moral authority, bro. It's the same thing I have a problem with fucking Reads with Rachel. Now, I haven't, I don't think she's done anything super shifty, but it's just like, stop acting like a fucking moral authority, please. You're not.
I think there's a difference though. And like for me, I would say there's a difference. Like moral authority is not the point, but like you can call out economic injustice even if you have, done other things. Like you can be a fucking murderer and still understand that there's economic injustice, and you can still call that out. Those are two different things. Like obviously Daniel Green is not a murderer.
Boy,
my point is like those are different categories. Is my point. and going like, well, you've cheated on your girlfriend, so now you're not allowed to criticize capitalism. Sounds like a dumb argument to make. You know what I mean? Because those are different categories.
Okay, yeah, it kind of is. It is a dumb argument, but it still annoys me. Like, you know,
I
it
mean,
still annoys me.
when it comes to annoyance, yes, but it doesn't invalidate, the criticism of Amazon and Audible is what I'm saying. It's like those are different
Look, I'm
things.
not
Like,
saying he's right or wrong.
does Daniel Green fucking annoy me? Yes, of course he does. But, you know, same with like Reads with Rachel. Does Reads with Rachel sometimes annoy me? Yes, but I'm not
Seriously,
gonna
go to
make.
her channel just to hear her complain about right-wing authors and fundamentalist Christianity. Like, that's it. And also telling authors how to write their books, which that's a no-no for me. Don't do that. Don't tell authors how to write books. Because to use
No,
one of her, to paraphrase something she said, I'm not writing the fucking book with you. Sorry,
I have a
we're
lot.
gonna
I
say
have like
something.
lots. I have lots of problems with Reads with Rachel. I'm not a fan. She does. I mean, she's made some good points about some specific books and so forth. And I'm not going to take that away from her. But like in general, like she's got like a personality that really grinds my gears, and I can't help that. Like even when I agree with her points, I'm like, the way you're presenting stuff just doesn't work for me. That's at the end of the day, that's not her fault and that's not my fault. It's just like, the way that, and I'm putting this up right now. It's like the way that Alan from Library of Alexandria, I can't listen to Alan, and that's not his fault. Like,
So you're
he
probably not
can't.
gonna be reading the Way of Dan anytime soon, then.
We'll see. But like no, but that's what it's like. He can't change his voice, and I can't change the fact, like when I hear him speak, that like the hairs on my neck stand up. That's something that is so like deeply sort of like ingrained that I can't change that, right? And there's no one is at fault. And it's similar with like Reads with Rachel. Like even when I agree with her, like on every fucking argument, it's like the way she presents stuff. I'm like, God, I don't want to. I don't want to do this. I don't. It doesn't work.
Like, I mean, she has baggage. We all do. That's fine. That's her business. But it's just kind of like, okay, I get it after a while, which is not, again, it's kind of like what you said. That's not really something that it's not really her fault, not really my fault. I mean, I don't really agree with all of her points, but it's just,
No,
I unsubscribed from her because I'm just like, I don't want to fucking, I don't see any good reason aside from to be. I didn't subscribe for her because she's not doing anything that's like unethical. So I didn't unsubscribe. But I'm like, gosh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this for my own peace of mind. So I finally did. So there you go.
like I say, like her videos kind of really like grind my gears, and I can't do anything about that. And even when I agree with her, and I guess like my politics are much closer to hers than like your politics are to hers, but like
Yeah,
it's still like still kind of annoys me. Oh man, I was looking through like stuff like earlier today, like books that are coming up, and I was like interested in kind of stuff. And there's like a really cool like biography of Christopher Marlowe coming like next month that I'm like really interested in, because Christopher Marlowe is just like really cool.
Oh, I thought you were gonna mention Shadow Ticket from Pension.
No, that's in October.
Oh, it's in October. Oh shit.
Yeah, that's
Fuck.
October.
Bro, imagine being 87 and cranking out a new novel. Like, it's not bad. It's like Cormac McCarthy with The Passenger.
Yeah.
Like 88 or some shit.
I'm very excited for the Shadow Ticket though. Like Shadow Ticket is definitely like my highlight of the year in a lot of ways. And that's a year where there's a new Stephen Erickson book coming out as well. But like Shadow Ticket, this man has taken longer than, at least for now, longer than George R. R. Martin to write a new book. But at least he's finished it. So I guess there's that. But,
Yeah, now everyone's freaking out about the George because some lady was saying some shit to George R. R. Martin the other day, and I'm just like, God, like,
Well,
guys,
she's got a point.
I mean, sure, but that doesn't mean Brandon Sanderson should finish it. He's the last person I'd let finish A Song of Ice and Fire.
I don't want Brandon Sanderson to finish Song of Ice and Fire. There might be, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to think about it. I don't care about it. It's their thing.
Still, I think the lady was out of line, even if she had a point. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like, again, it's kind of fucked up to actually do that, like in public and so forth. I'm fine with that. It's okay to criticize that, but like, I feel like what's important is like everyone has been thinking that for the last 10 years, at least. Like, seriously, like most Song of Ice and Fire fans have been thinking of the fact that like George is old. He's not getting younger. He's getting older. He looks like fucking Santa Claus. He's getting older and older and fatter and fatter. He's probably not gonna, reach like the mythical age of like fucking 700 years. So he'd better get his shit together and write that fucking book if you want that book. It's like, I don't care if he dies before the stuff is finished. That's what happens. I don't care. It's good. But like, I feel it's like there's a level of like sort of like holier than thou kind of bullshit going on, where it's like, how dare you say that when like most people have had that thought at some point. And some people go like, well, yeah, whatever, and some people go like, oh no, I'll never see that because George R. R. Martin will die before the books are finished. And now one person says that out loud, which once again is wrong. Don't do that in public that way. It was weird and strange and so forth, but like everyone else was thinking it at the same time. And people should acknowledge the fact that they have been thinking that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know. It's just kind of, oh, what else is coming out in October? Ben says, October seems to be filled with awesome book and game releases.
There is the new Black Company book coming out in October.
There's a new one? I didn't even know Glenn Cook was still alive.
Glenn Cook is still alive. He's like also in his late 80s.
Oh, shit. All right.
And he had in like an entire new trilogy. Like I think the first one like is coming out this year, and the other ones are in revision right now. So he wrote an like entire fucking new trilogy. I don't know the title right now. It's something Tears thing.
I'm sure you're gonna be reading that. Well, I said I'm sure you're gonna be reading that. I know you love the Black Company.
As soon as there is an audiobook, I will be listening to that because yes.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping to make a video on some books I'm hoping to read before the year is over. So I'm going to save all those thoughts for then.
I think you might really enjoy Black Company. It's really good. Especially
I know I want to check it out. It seems kind of like something I would like, not that
really good.
Not that high stakes, I mean, there are a lot of books, but they don't really seem like they're very
it's high stakes, all right. Don't get me wrong. It's
well, okay, maybe that's the wrong term for it, but it's not like it doesn't seem like it's super like epic, like a Wheel of Time or some shit.
Yes and no.
Or maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying it does seem a little. It does seem a little more sword and sorcerer maybe.
The thing with Black Company is that it is very deceptive in that you're reading this book that it's just like a first-person narrative of like the company doctor of this mercenary company, and he's writing this stuff down, and like so it's all like very, very small, like low stakes and so forth, and then you finally realize that like holy shit, this is still very much about like the entire fucking world, but because you get it from that very specific perspective, it takes a while to sink in that how much of the stuff you're sort of like buying into at the same time. And that's kind of one of the many aspects of like the genius of Glenn Cook.
Yeah, I think it does sound like something that would interest me. I'll say that. I haven't really, researched all that much into it, but it doesn't seem...
Steven Erickson called it Vietnam fiction on peyote.
Yeah, I think I actually saw that blurb on one of the like omnis
Yeah,
for something.
and
Like I saw the first book. The
he's
first
not
book I think
wrong.
was re-released by Tor recently, wasn't it? He
Yeah,
did the forward for it.
yeah, and he's not wrong. It is Vietnam fiction on peyote. It is incredibly psychedelic, but also like very, very sort of like war fiction kind of thing. I mean, you've read the things they carried. You've read that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah, I read it
it
last year. It's
does,
really good.
it does have that sort of like situation where sort of like reality and super reality kind of blur.
Oh shit, Outer Worlds 2's coming out? Oh man, I gotta give that a look. So I really enjoyed the first game. I thought that wasn't coming out till like 2026. I didn't know it was coming out now. But yeah, no, yeah, I'm hoping to start The Big Nowhere by James Elroy, which, you know, Elroy's always a interesting time. You know, probably not going to come out with it, you know, whistling and skipping around, but it's, you know, it's a fun time. Man, oh, it's also the one he did before L.A. Confidential, which is, you know, I think one of the greatest crime novels of all time. So, Ref, I don't know what you would think of Elroy. I'd be really curious to see you try James Elroy at some point, because I don't, but I'm like, I don't know where you would fall though. Either I think you would either really enjoy him or really hate him, because he's very I don't know.
All right, I just checked. It's called Lies Weeping. Is the first part of the A Pitiless Rain trilogy by Glenn Cook, and it's coming out on the 4th of November, apparently. I'm just saying, like, Glenn Cook is the master of like really, really, really cool book titles. Like all of them are just so good.
I think the first one's called Black Company, isn't it? Like,
The first one is Black Company. Like
you
the
know what,
later ones are just
2026, I'm trying to take a break from starting like series. I'm trying to stick with like standalone fantasies at the moment.
yeah,
But you know what? With exceptions, I'm gonna try the
yeah.
Greenbone saga. But you know what? I might throw in Black Company in there. Yeah, just for you, Raph.
They're really like the first ones are really fairly quick reads. They're not that long as
Yeah,
books.
that's kind of what intrigues me, because again, they're not that long. So, you know, they're definitely in
but
that
like
kind of pulpy era of fantasy, if you will. And they were still
yeah,
kind
but
of
I said, like Glenn Cook in general is just like really good when it comes to like book titles in general. Like he knows how to name a book. Like She is the Darkness, Water Sleeps, Soldiers Live, and those are like really good because he always he builds it up in like the previous book, like during like She is the Darkness, they have that like saying it's like water sleeps but enemy never rests, and during Water Sleeps they come to that saying which is like soldiers live and wonder why, and he does all of those kind of things and he builds that over time, right? And that is the, like what makes Glenn Cook so interesting is like how he's able to sort of like build up like book titles throughout the history of his writing in a lot of ways, and that's just like really cool. And once again, like Water Sleeps but enemy never rests is like I wish we had that saying in our world, but apparently it's only in like the Black Company world.
oh my god. So, what's the new Erickson book anyway? Because I've been hearing a lot about it, but I haven't really like.
It's called No Life Forsaken. It's the second book of Witness.
Oh, so he's finally getting around doing the Karsa book or whatever. That guy called Karsa. I haven't read anything about him yet, but he's like the Conan XP.
Yes and no. So the first one was The God is Not Willing, and that was somewhat Karsa related, although Karsa is not exactly a character in the book. And the second one, I don't know if it will involve Karsa. From what I can say, from what I can tell, it does take place in 7 cities, which means that it's more like the aftermath of Dead House Gates in a lot of ways, I think. Um, so what is interesting about that new trilogy is that takes place after the end of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and it kind of looks like sort of like you have this epic fantasy series, and gods have been killed, gods have been resurrected, the whole, as epic as it fucking can get. So the question is like, what?
Shebang. I hear you.
Yeah. So what happens afterwards? And that's kind of the things like, so people are sort of like creating new magic, creating new gods, new religions, and so forth. And some of that is built on, the stuff that happens before, because, you do epic fantasy shit. Maybe someone will think of you as, a god, or at least someone worth like worshipping and stuff like that. So he does kind of look at that. So you have like the events from like the Malazan Book of the Fallen, some people doing insane shit during that series, and then later on people going like, yeah, that was like godlike. Maybe we should actually pray to that guy who did that insane thing. So it does sort of like look at that, I think, in a lot of ways. And Karsa Orlong is certainly the kind of guy that does, get worshipped as a god by some people, which he doesn't like, which is, why it's called The God Is Not Willing, because he's certainly not not going to take on the responsibilities of a god anytime soon. So I don't know what No Life Forsaken will be about, but I think it will be mostly about Seven Cities and the aftermath of Deadhouse Gates.
So Bend is asking, I'm guessing this is to me, but she asked, did I finish Deadhouse Gates? I haven't started Deadhouse Gates yet, but I'm sure Raph has, because he's finished the series 3 times, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh boy. Okay, let me look this up on Goodreads. God is not willing. There we go. But no, I haven't read Deadhouse Gates yet. I'm actually taking a bit of a break from epic fantasy after Malazan. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill a minute. Oh no, I haven't. I don't own it yet. I haven't started. I did finish Gardens of the Moon, so yeah. Hopefully, I will have a discussion about that at some point in the near future. I don't know when that's going to be. Before the end of the year, at least, which I know is not really, probably not going to help anyone, but. It's no epic Fantasember. Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, it's, I don't know. Like, what vampire books do I recommend? There's one book I read last year for Halloween. It's called In the Valley of the Sun, that I thought was pretty good. Very much, it's very much like No Country for Old Men, but with vampires. It's fun. I enjoyed it.
I know I don't have to recommend that one to you, Thornall, but I think George R. Martin's vampire book, Fever Dream, is actually really good. I enjoyed that one. I'm not much of a vampire fan. I think vampires kind of suck. I mean,
I like that. Not bad. I mean, Preacher has vampires, but I think you've already read Preacher, so you're fine. The third book of Joe Burns' series, Hybrid Helix, has vampires. So there you go. And Black Leopard Red Wolf also has vampires that replace people's blood with lightning. It's pretty insane. It's an insane book, and I love it. Waiting for that third damn book to come out whenever Marlon James fucking does that. Come on, Marlon. Don't do that. Don't leave me hanging. I am still reading Brief History, 7 Killings, hoping to have it done before September's over. We'll see how it goes. I should say I do highly recommend picking up the
audiobook is so good.
The audiobook for Brief History is very good. though they do kind of talk a bit slowly, so I've had to speed it up a little bit. But
But I
Black
think it's
Leopard
so
Red.
important. Well,
Oh
I think
no,
it's so
Black Leopard Red
important.
Wolf has the vampires that replace people's blood with lightning. I talk about Black Leopard Red Wolf a lot. What are you talking about?
Mm.
But I'll put it in the chat.
What I like so much about like the audiobook does like, I mean, you're right. Like Martin James is very like oral in the way he writes stuff like that. Like listening to someone talk about it does make a difference. But like especially with like Brief History of Seven Killings, the way that the slight shifts in patois that different people are using, how that signifies like different levels of like class where you are in like Jamaican society, like whether you're like closer to like the top and closer to like white American sort of society, or you're like you listen to some like Bam Bam, who's probably like the most brutal patois, and then you go all the way up to
I actually
what's her
feel for
name?
Bam Bam. He has a.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not judging. I'm just saying
I
like
was about to
that.
say I think Josie Wells is probably the biggest monster out of everyone in that book, at least
Oh
so
yeah,
far.
Josie definitely is the bad guy, but like I think like my point is more that like the the way that the patois sort of like signifies like position in like the class, like the very very stratified sort of like class system within a country like Jamaica, with like how skin color and economic access and so forth sort of like determine where you are in that society, and how the way you speak sort of like also
Yeah,
pays,
like
makes
I'll
that
put it this
important,
way:
like
like I don't know if I could have read A Brief History just straight as a book. I don't know if I could have done it. Like
yeah
audiobook has proven immensely helpful. So if anyone's interested in
yeah
reading A Brief History, I would recommend getting the audiobook for it. Even though I know Audible's not really popular right now, pick it up. It's you will not regret it, I think. And also it's Marlon James. He's just a very good writer.
yeah.
And
But I remember that I signed up for like the big romantasy read of 2025, I
oh
guess.
no. Yes, I did hear tell that you might be reading Twilight soon, which I mean, good luck, man. Godspeed. Yes, I agree. I did not get the audiobooks for Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and Moonwood Spider King, even though I probably should have. But I do think you can read those straight. Um, with something like A Brief History, where it almost feels like an oral history, where they're talking
Yeah.
at you.
Mhm.
I don't know if I could have read it straight. To be honest, I kind of like how it almost feels like a documentary at points. Like
Yeah.
the book talks at you, which is really quite fascinating. It's a
Yes, Max Garfield, you're right. Like By Force Alone does have those very German Nazi vampires in the Arthurian age, which is really good. It's a low and green kind of story.
I still need to read
Parsival
Lavi
vampires.
Tidar. I don't know where to start with them. You've talked with them, Raph. What do you suggest I start with them? Should I just go with By Force Alone, or should I just pick up something else?
Depends on what you're interested in. Like, By Force Alone works best if you've read a lot of Arthurian books before, so you recognize all the connections and stuff. Um, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's true, Ori, but Audible is what I've been using. So I mean, I'm just kind of I know that Audible is not the only audiobook company out there. I just that's just the one I use. I just subscribed to them because I would have had a expiration date on 2 days from now, but I just put in for a month. So like hopefully I'll be able to finish Brief History before too long, and then I'll probably do Pale Fire as immersion read. So it's been,
That is very true. Like how to win the Hugo Award is one of those like really funny stories. It also has
sounds
like
kind of
cats.
meta.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's good. I like
I mean,
that.
you can always look at like steampunk is just a fascism for nice guys. No, I think it kind of depends on what you want from like what kind of aspect of like if you want like science fiction or historical fiction or fantasy or whatever, because it's all over the place. And I personally think that his I mean you're into superheroes and comics and stuff.
Well, yes.
Maybe the Violent Century might just be like the one that you want to look at.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I mean, I do like Joe's superhero books, so I might give it a shot. Turns out I actually don't mind superheroes in prose form, even though it is kind of weird because I
They're
generally
also like very, very, very British superheroes. So they're like very understated and all about depression
they swear a lot.
well, it's 1940s. Like they're fighting Nazis, and it's all foggy and certain shit because it's still like the 1940s and it's dirty and stuff. But I
Damn,
really
you're just wrecking my TBR right now. Have any of you listened to, speaking of podcasts and, Audible and the like, have any of you ever heard Marlon and Jake read Dead People, where like Marlon James and his editor read
I
authors
have
who have died?
not. I know it exists, but I haven't listened to the podcast.
I've listened to a couple of them. They're very good. And also I like listening to Marlon James speak. He's very engaging. But yeah, I enjoy I also like In a Brief History. I mean, again, I'll probably save this for when I finish it and probably do a video on it, which, I'll probably have you on it because, I mean, you're probably the only person I know in the vicinity, my general vicinity, who likes or has read The Brief History of Seven Killings. I mean, I know there's other people like Katie Books read it a few months ago, or not a few months ago, a few years ago.
He's a big Marlon James fan. I know that.
Yes. But I don't know him aside from I know Amanda was complaining about him because I don't know, he's Islamic or some shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if he's not like killing people. As long as he like treats people with dignity and respect, like I'm fine with it.
Look,
I don't care what your
as
religious
long like if he keeps killing people, as long as he writes a brief history about it, I'm fine with it.
But it's really anyway, my point being I'll probably save a lot of my thoughts on Brief History for when I do a video about it, but I'm really it's not an easy read, but it's definitely it is rewarding in its way. And there are a lot of themes I'm picking up on that Marlon James has played with in some of the other books I've read from him.
Yeah.
Like the found family thing is really big in this one as well.
Yeah. And Ori is right. Maror by Lavi Tidar is definitely similar to Brief History of Seven Killings. Also, why do I have like a tent peg on my desk?
I was about to say, didn't he do like a kind of kaleidoscopic book about like Israel and Palestine a few years ago? Something like that? So I remember, I thought I made a video about that.
That is Maror, and the second one is called Adama, and the third one is called Golgotha, and is coming out next month. And I'm very excited about it. But Maror is very brief history of seven killings in a lot of ways, and kind of covers Israeli history from like the 70s to the 2000s, and mostly through like crime and stuff. So it's very similar to brief history.
I might listen to something more. I would like to read something a little more accessible, maybe. So, Neom was I thought that was the one. I thought that was one about like Israeli stuff, Israeli history and whatnot. Which, goddamn, he has been all over the place. Lavi TR.
No, he does everything. Like I like the best thing he ever wrote is the Winnie the Pooh flash fiction thing he did on Twitter.
What?
There's a hard boiled detective story around Winnie the Pooh that he wrote.
That sounds awesome. It's like, oh bother, Well, we need to go to the bar to get some honey. You know.
It's something like that. Her name was Kenga, and I knew she was trouble as soon as he entered my place. She was like, "Are you Pooh the detective?" And I said, "I live under the name of Saunders."
That sounds awesome.
So yeah, look, just read any Lavi Tidar. It's always interesting and weird.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna, at least for my first book in September, after I finish either The Big Nowhere, Brief History, whenever, I'm probably gonna start The Devils to see how I'll think of it. Will I like it? I have no idea, but we'll see.
I think The Devils is really good.
But I'm gonna
It
put it up to
works.
vote again because I had a good time with it last time when I put it up for vote on what book I should read first. So
I feel
we'll see
like
how
The
it goes.
Devils works better if it's like your first Abercrombie, because like since I've reread like all of the Abercrombie, like the first law stuff, like recently, I'm like, at this point, I kind of know how Abercrombie writes, so it does not feel like too fresh. It's still fun, right? But it is sort of like how can I put this? It's like Back in Black from AC/DC. I'm like, yes, Back in Black is an amazing AC/DC album, but you know, I've done all the things with like Bon Scott before that, so it's not it doesn't actually change the formula that much. It's slightly fresh, but it's still the same thing. So I think it does impact you more if it's like your first Abercrombie, I think.
Well, I do hear there is a werewolf in God
The
damn it,
Devils?
The Devils. Yeah, so
Yes, there
I'll check
is.
it out for that. I'll check it out definitely for that. But
It is certainly one of the best werewolves I've ever encountered. That is true.
I've heard he kind of
That
rips off Logan Nine Fingers again, which I'm like, ah, man, that sucks. Or maybe
well,
that was you who said that.
the werewolf is very much like Logan Nine Fingers, except she's a woman and she's incredibly horny.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I will like The Devils.
And yes, you should, like Ori is right. You should read Cameron Hurley, because Cameron
Yeah,
Hurley is
I am hoping to read more sci-fi and crime next year. So you know what? I might try Cameron Hurley just for you, Raph. I'll be like, guess what, Raph? I'm reading Cameron Hurley, and you'll be like, oh man, Britton, you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. I don't I don't know.
it depends
I
on
think
the
I'll
book
like
you're
it.
picking, but no. So here's the thing: is like,
I might try.
have you
Oh, sorry.
read Starship Troopers?
Yes,
Have you watched the movie Starship Troopers?
yes.
All right. In that case, read The Light Brigade.
Yeah, I was thinking of starting with the Light Brigade if I was gonna start anywhere with Cameron Hurley. I've heard that's a really good one.
That is an excellent novel. It's really good. It's also, I mean, it does very much sort of like
I'm
bank
also thinking about
on.
trying the Forever War as well because a bunch of people are like, "Oh
Yeah,
man, that book's really good," and I'm like, I don't know. It seems kind of because I'm super picky sometimes because like stuff that comes from the '70s, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It could be a little pulpy, which nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it can kind of jump the shark a little bit. But I've heard it's good, so I might pick it up. We'll see. Try not to think too far ahead, but I'm doing a really terrible job at it. But yes, I definitely would like to try like the one. I think she did one that's kind of like commenting on the moon as a harsh mistress, which I would like to read because I really like Moon as a Harsh Mistress, or at least I have a real soft spot for that book.
Okay.
Didn't you do a Lunar book about a revolution
No,
on the
no,
moon?
that is Ian MacDonald.
Oh, we did. Oh, okay. I'll pick that. I'll
That's the
read that one.
Luna trilogy, which is like The Moon is a Harsh Mistress meets Game of Thrones, kind of. And it's amazing because, it's Ian MacDonald, and Ian MacDonald is probably one of the best living science fiction writers that we have at the moment.
I think you have you read the Southern Reach books?
I have not. I've read some other Jeff Vandermeer, but not those.
I was about to say I think you would like those, but
No, I know I will. It was more like for the longest time they like I could get the first one and then the rest was region locked, and I had to do things to have access to them. So it's a thing that I now have, but I haven't actually gotten to reading it yet. But it's something that will happen very soon because you know I had to cross borders and stuff and do things that might be considered somewhat legally problematic, I guess.
Well, don't be admitting the felonies here on
No, no,
here.
no, no.
I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to get you arrested.
I very much paid for it. I am all in the good. I did not steal anything from anyone. I did just find ways to do the thing that we all know, which is like borders are stupid.
So you're like in the like borders are kind of whack crowd.
Nation states were a big problem, and we're still suffering from it.
Hold on,
Borders.
let me see what Cameron Hurley's written. I know she did the Light Brigade. I swore she did something about the moon, didn't she?
She did the Nix Nissa stuff, which is a God's War, Rapture, and Infidel, and she did a fantasy series which is called The Broken Heavens, I think, which is like the Mirror Empire, and whatever the other two books are called. And she did The Stars of Legion and some short stories. I think that's all that is published so far.
Yeah, I'm also hoping to read the Mars, or at least start the Mars trilogy, because I read the first like paragraph of Red Mars a few months ago at my local Barnes and Noble. I'm like, God damn, Kim Stanley Robinson, you're kind of on to something. I'll have to pick this up, and then I haven't yet. So
Kim Stanley Robinson is a very smart person, and he studied French under arguably one of the most important American philosophers of the 20th century. So,
who's
good
that?
guy. Frederick Jameson.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
highly
I was
recommend
actually.
reading Frederick Jameson. I have to warn you though, Britton. He was a Marxist. I mean, he died last year in like his 90s.
Well, I'm not against reading stuff from Marxists. I mean, I fucking read China Mieville, so I'm not I'm not
So, like,
against.
the thing with Frederick Jameson is that he wrote like the important one is postmodernism or the cultural logic of late capitalism, and the other one that is important to
Well, okay,
read.
Frederick Jameson said that Philip K. Dick was the greatest living American writer. So you know what? I might get along with him just fine, even if I'll
Oh
probably
yeah,
even though I'll
no, no,
probably disagree with him politically.
that's like the thing that makes Frederick Jameson so interesting is that he's a really like big time American philosopher slash cultural critic, all the whole like 9 yards, and he was writing and talking about science fiction for the longest time. Like he wrote like a lot of like critical essays on Ursula Le Guin and Philip K. Dick and Kim Stanley Robinson, and like even in his postmodernism or the cultural logic of late capitalism from the 80s, he's like he quotes Neuromancer by William Gibson in like the introduction, goes like, this is like the quintessential postmodern text is cyberpunk, and that's just like one of the reasons that makes like Frederick Jameson so interesting.
Well,
Like,
I have bounced off of Wolf twice, and you know what? I'll try Book of the New Sun and see if it works the third time, and if it don't, it don't. So we'll see how it goes. Probably not going to read Book of the New Sun anytime soon, but not where I would start. But then again, I haven't read Book of the New Sun, so don't listen to me. I think you would do well starting with something like I don't know, Childhood's End, maybe.
Infomocracy is one of those that I still really, really want to read. So I haven't read that one yet, but I need to. I feel like Gene Wolfe is one of those authors that is absolutely worth reading, but it's like one of the things I've learned is like some books you kind of need to come back to like every like I don't know 5 years or so and see if you're like
Oh,
or
shit. Red Mars starts in 2026. It's a sign, guys. I have to read it now.
eh, I'm not stopping you from reading like Kim Stanley Robinson.
I don't know if the Mars trilogy is the best place to start with, but we'll take it. But we'll take it.
Like all Kim Stanley Robinson is worthwhile, is what I'm saying.
I saw this conversation with Jonathan Lethem about Philip K. Dick, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep this guy in mind because he likes Philip K. Dick, and anyone who likes Philip K. Dick, he's good in my book.
I think like what makes like Kim Stanley Robinson talking with Jonathan Lethem makes a lot of sense because he's someone who does write science fiction, but he's also someone who's studied science fiction, I guess is what I'm saying in a lot of ways. So someone who does both like praxis and theory in a lot of ways, and I think that makes like Kim Stanley Robinson so interesting as an author.
Yeah, Lethem's interesting. He's kind of like Michael Chabon. He dances from literary to like genre fiction in a very interesting way. Like I read a Gun with Occasional Music a few years ago, and I thought it was a very
later this year, and I'm very excited for that one.
Which one?
Lethem has a
there's a new
collection.
Lethem?
It might be an older collection, but it's like a short story, whatever collection kind of thing coming out later this year.
Oh, okay. Well, which is kind of funny that I compare him to
Shabon
because they're both Jewish. And they both do similar things with their work.
I think they're like both like really interesting. Like Lethem obviously has like his very specific connection to Philip K. Dick in a lot of ways. That
yeah, he edited his book where he basically kind of went insane for a while, and
that one.
I would like to read that at some point, but I'm like, I love Philip K. Dick, but there are sometimes he goes a little too like esoteric and strange for my taste, which well.
I highly recommend the book that the other guy who was helping Lethem edit the what's it called?
It's called like the Exegesis or something.
The Exegesis of Philip K. Dick, yes. And the other guy who edited that, I'm trying to remember his name. It's Eric something, and he wrote like an interesting book on like counterculture, psychedelics, and so forth, which is about like Philip K. Dick and Robert Anton Wilson and Terence McKenna, and how that kind of how those like how psychedelics impacted like science fiction writing in a lot of ways. And let me remember, I read the book. Let me find the title of that. And that was like really interesting. And he's like a co-editor together with Jonathan Lethem for the exegesis of Philip K. Dick. Yes, High Weirdness. Eric Davis. High Weirdness, Drugs, Esoterica, and Visionary Experiences.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out.
By Eric Davis. And Eric Davis is like a co-editor with Jonathan Lethem for the exegesis of Philip K. Dick.
All right, I'll add that.
And it kind of looks at Terence McKenna and Philip K. Dick and Robert Anton Wilson and how their different approaches to like psychedelics and drugs and stuff sort of like impacted their approach to reality and stuff.
So yeah, either in September I'll start either with The Devils or The Great Win by Alan Moore, which I've been meaning to get to for a little while because I love Alan Moore. And I'm curious to see what he'll do with the fantasy genre. You read it, didn't you?
I read it. I liked it. It was fun.
That's good.
Uh,
Alan Moore tends to do well when he's just having fun with a concept.
no, it's really good. It's like if you know something about like London history, then it definitely kind of, because it is very sort of like London centered in a lot of ways.
Uh
So
huh.
if you know more about London history, then you get like a lot of like the sort of like smaller like Easter egg kind of references and stuff that he puts in that. But it's a good book. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. I had like a lot of fun with it. Is
I also have Illuminations. I still need to read that as well. So
That's a short story collection, right?
yes, that's his story collection. Yeah,
Yeah.
as well as with the 200 page story, which is technically a novel called whatever what was it? What we're gonna do with Thunderman or something like that. Which is probably
Okay.
going to be his last angry rant about the comic book industry. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Like I'm not gonna stop him from being angry.
So I'll say you would appreciate more. He's very angry sometimes,
I
especially
know.
in like V for Vendetta. He's very angry in that book.
I know.
Well, Ben said it was an incredible puzzle, the Book of the New Sun. So I mean, hey, I won't stop you.
It is an incredible puzzle because it does not have like an actual like definite sort of like solution. So you can build whatever you want out of it. And I think that's kind of part of like what makes Gene Wolfe so interesting is that usually he just like he throws out so many references to stuff that it's very easy to sort of like build your own sort of like meaning out of what he does. And he'll never tell you what's like the definite sort of like there's no official solution to like any of his books, and I like that. But I can understand how it's kind of frustrating or at least difficult for people who are not used to that kind of writing, I think, to sort of like get through that. And you know I don't know, just read like the Wizard Knight. It has like a talking cat and a talking dog, and the dog can also fly.
The dog can indeed talk. I did read The Wizard last year, and I was kind of like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Gilf or whatever his name is, he can talk and he can fly, and the cat can talk, and I don't know if the cat can also fly, but the
I didn't love the
Grimalkin,
writing style. There's a lot of like weird, like he always says like kind of, and that just bothered me. Which I know
mm,
it's like a kid technically writing it, but still, I'm just like, dude, like stop that.
no, but that's like the
Just because it
interesting
feels
thing.
authentic doesn't mean you should do it.
But that's like Gene Wolfe's kind of thing. Like most of his books are like first person unreliable narrators, and the style does sort of like change depending on like the narrator. So you get a kid, you get a kid, and that kid will say kind of all the time because that's a kid. And you read like Book of the New Sun, and he has like a very different sort of like style. But it's once again, it's like a first person narrator, and that narrator is an absolute asshole. And a lot of people go and like reading, like having trouble with Book of the New Sun, go like Severian is such an unlikable character. I'm like, yeah, but like that's not the problem. That's kind of what this is about. You're not supposed to be like on his side. Just because he's like the person telling you the story doesn't mean you're supposed to like the guy. He's not a nice guy. Is the point?
Uh Darnell says the Wizard Knight felt to me like something written by someone who never wrote fantasy and was forced to write 1,000 pages in 1 month. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. He spent a lot of time writing in the fantasy genre, so I would think he enjoyed it. But hey, you never know. Terry Goodkind fucking did his fucking thing, which fuck Terry Goodkind, by the way.
Um, I mean, yes. Look, I've only read Wizard's First Rule, and it's bad, but it's not that bad. I've read worse, is what I'm saying.
Biggest Bad has something for you. It's about a land fit for heroes by Richard K. Morgan.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. It's been a while since I last read Land Fit for Heroes. It like you want to read a Grimdark sword and sorcery fantasy book. I think The Seal Remains is probably the best thing you can read. It's the tightest, most like intense kind of grimdark fantasy that you can read. It's like it's angry as fuck, and it's like really really good, but it's like no like where like Abercrombie does have like irony and whatever. Like Richard K. Morgan doesn't have irony. He just has like rage, and it's really really good. I highly recommend like at least the first one. After that, stuff gets like really weird and intense and stuff. And
It's really fucky.
Hmm?
It gets really fucky.
Well, the second book starts with someone taking over and freeing a slave caravan and gang raping the slave master.
Oh fuck! God
Yes.
damn!
No, I was
Like
serious when
slavery's bad, but oh man,
no, I was serious when I said that he's not holding back. That
Fuck,
thing
man.
is intense.
Christ. Why is it that every fucking time someone like it's like, oh, let's free him, let's rape him? It's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, it's weird.
No, like the slaver gets gang raped.
Oh no, I mean, I don't know. Like, why is it when stuff goes down, they're like, let's rape somebody? It's like, what are you doing?
Like I'm not saying.
What are you doing?
No, like
Are we
as I said,
fucking
like
animals?
it's an intense
Not
kind of
saying
thing,
like,
and
I don't know. Sorry.
it does very much like look at like sort of like look at the sort of like difference between like revenge and justified penance and all that kind of stuff. But like the first one I highly recommend. Like the Steel Remains is probably the best grimdark fantasy book, and it just like leaves all of like Abercrombie in the dirt. And Abercrombie kind of said so when he wrote like his review of it.
Yeah, it's oh man. That's fucking gnarly shit. I don't mean to laugh. That's terrible, but it's like, damn, dude. Fuck.
No, that's one of that one does not hold back. And like I love like the opening sentence of The Steel Remains is one of the best like fantasy openings ever. It's so good. It's like when a man you know to be of sound character tells you that his his dead mother climbed into his window and tried to strangle him. You have basically two options. You can check his breath, look at his pupils, make sure that he hasn't ingested anything nasty, or you can believe him. Ringel, having done the first one,
Oh shit.
shrugged and took on his sword and went out. Yeah.
Oh shit. He has an epigraph from The Broken Sword by Paul Anderson, which I read earlier this year, and it was a very good book.
No, it's like I mean, Richard K. Morgan is the guy who wrote Altered Carbon. I don't know if you watched the show, but like he's the guy who wrote Altered Carbon before he wrote The Steel Remains.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't read or watched it. Maybe someday I will.
So yeah, like if you want to read like a good grimdark book, I think The Seal Remains is the one to read. After that, do whatever you want after that because
Fucking hell, though. Damn.
no, he's very much not fucking around. There's like
I can tell. Fuck, man.
but I think what is important about that is that there is like where like most Joe Abercrombie stuff does have sort of like this ironic distance and it's all like fun and games and there's always sort of like a wink and a nudge and shit and so forth. Richard K. Morgan doesn't have that. This is like he's like sincere and serious. This is like yeah. Look, he's angry. And you'd better also be angry is kind of the point.
Fair enough.
And I do appreciate that. Anyway,
I heard there's gay sex in it as well.
Oh yes, very detailed, lots of it.
Also, Amazon has the cold commands. It's like $62. I'm like, fuck that.
What?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have to look for it again later. But the copy I saw was on Amazon was $62. I'm like, I ain't fucking getting that.
The thing with like Richard K. Morgan is that he turned like because he's British, he turned like very turf and is or at least used to be like a big supporter of J.K. Rowling and Maya Hofstadter or whatever her name is and stuff. So I don't know what to think of him at this point, but the books were like at least Still Remains was like a really good book, is what I'm saying. He's got a new book coming out later this year, but I'm gonna make sure I guess I have to do like a bit of like a research kind of thing to figure out whether I still want to give this guy money at this point. But Britton, are you planning to end the stream soon or not?
Yeah, I am probably going to end it soon. So
all right, because I was like, my beer is empty. Should I get like another one or not?
Yeah, I'm probably going to take off before too long because it seems like everyone's piping down a bit. But
look, it's almost like midnight here, so I'm fine with like whatever.
Yeah, I have other things I wanted to do today, but you know what? I think I'll end it off here though. But Raph, as always, it's fun. We tend to go off on some interesting directions, if you will.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I guess we'll talk very soon.
Probably, yeah. Either for the Discworld files or something else. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could come up with something.
All right. Well, take care, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. But yeah, so take care, everyone.
All right. See you around.